Chapter 2635. Don't worry, I will definitely save them. Ling Xiao nodded. Lai Feng stepped forward and fiddled with the teleportation gate of the extreme royal mystic realm for a moment before opening it. Saving them is important, but you have to be careful. Bo Yi Xin shouldn't be in the interrogation room, so your chances are still very high. Gale reminded. Got it. Ling Xiao nodded and glanced at the map. He had already memorized the location of the interrogation room. Bo Yi Ruri. Ling Xiao originally didn't treat this guy as an enemy, because he had seen many so-called geniuses who liked to show off. He had long been used to it. But he didn't expect that this guy actually dared to target Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death. This had touched his reverse scale. After exiting the teleportation door, Ling Xiao ignored the shocked gazes of others and went straight to the interrogation room. He knew that he didn't have much time. Once Bo Yixin found out about this, he definitely wouldn't be able to save them. At that time, he might even lose his life. Hurry up! His speed became faster and faster. Because Gale's map was more accurate, he didn't take a detour and went straight to the interrogation room. He knew very well that if he killed Bo Yi Ruri, he definitely wouldn't be able to stay in the Arcana Academy. But he didn't care. If there was anything else about the Arcana Academy that attracted him, it would be the untouchable place in the Imperial Secret Realm. But that place he still didn't have the ability to enter. When he had the ability in the future, who would be able to stop him? Leaving now really wasn't a pity at all. He didn't believe that the Chun country's royal family could cover the sky with one hand. What are you doing? When he reached the door of the interrogation room, there were already warriors who began to stop him. These people were clearly Bo Yi Ruri's subordinates. Ling Xiao didn't stop at all and directly sent these people flying. He didn't care whether they lived or died and kicked open the door of the interrogation room. In the interrogation room, Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death were hung on a wooden beam. Fresh blood was dripping from his body, dripping onto the ground. The dripping sound was heart-wrenching. Ling Xiao even saw Ruri Ueno cutting Moon Death's body with her knife. As she slashed, she sneered, Lin Ruoxian, I know you're not afraid of death, but you're very sentimental. If you don't tell me, I'll cut this woman into pieces. How could there be such a vicious woman? Ling Xiao's anger soared to the sky. At that moment, he did not intend to show any mercy. Kill! Kill them all! Kill everyone who dared to stop him! These were his true thoughts, his truest thoughts. As this thought formed, the second star of the sun god constellation lit up. In his mind, the second divine ability of the sun god constellation appeared. Bloodthirsty plague. It was also a secret technique that had been awakened under special circumstances. However, it was different from the horizontal golden light technique. The bloodthirsty plague was extremely evil and powerful. As Ling Xiao uttered these 4 words, Ling Xiao's eyes lit up. His body instantly transformed into the bloodthirsty demon rat. The plague spread. Countless germs were released, quickly spreading in the interrogation room. Aside from his own people, the other martial artists, including Ruri Ueno, could clearly feel their blood suddenly turning black and was being devoured by the germs. Those with weaker cultivations had their blood sucked dry on the spot. The plague germs became a lot bigger and then merged into the demon rat transformation. This allowed Ling Xiao's cultivation to increase. Although the increase was not too obvious, this kind of terrifying attack was enough to make people tremble in fear. Aside from Ruri Ueno, who could still move, the others were completely infected by the germs, their skin turning black as they screamed. Ling Xiao did not expect that this Abhijina's secret technique would actually be so terrifying. Although Ruri Ueno could still move, she was feeling very uncomfortable, as if breathing had become difficult. You bastard, stop! Stop! Ruri Ueno cried out in pain. Do you know who my father is? My father is Ken Ueno, the patriarch of the Ueno clan, one of the 8 great clans of the state of Qin. Even the Thunder Seigneur would have to give him some face. You dare to hurt me, you will die a horrible death. Even though Ling Xiao had the upper hand, Ruri Ueno was still very arrogant. Her words were not begging for mercy, but threatening. Ling Xiao did not pay attention to her. He walked over, took out clean clothes from his storage ring, and wrapped them up with Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death. Then, he let them enter the beast ring to rest. I will definitely take revenge for you, no matter who the other party is. Ling Xiao now regretted bringing Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death out. If these two girls had not followed him, they probably would not have been tortured like this. He understood that after leaving Thunder City, he would send Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death to the 8 Immortal City. In the 8 Immortal City, they would be of great use, and they would not encounter too much danger. Of course, now was not the time to think about this. What he needed to do now was to kill Ruri Ueno. However, the bloodthirsty plague seemed to be the same as the Earth Elemental Golden Light technique. It consumed a lot of stamina. Helpless, he could only remove it midway. Then, he ate a blood spirit pill to completely recover his stamina. After the bloodthirsty plague was removed, Ruri Ueno survived. However, her subordinates were all dead. The scratches on their bodies, were they all done by you? Ling Xiao looked at Ruri Ueno and coldly asked. That's right, I did it. So what? A lowly commoner asked them questions, and they actually dared to not answer. This is the light punishment. Don't worry, after I capture you, I will make you suffer 10 times more painful than them. Ruri Ueno ate a pill, and her body gradually recovered. At this time, she also wore the leather armor that she was very proud of. It was a leather armor made from the skin of a powerful demon beast. It is a divine grade spirit tool. At the same time, she also took out a weapon. It is also a divine grade spirit tool. Obviously, Ruri Ueno knew that Ling Xiao was not easy to deal with. Therefore, she wanted to use all her strength to torture Ling Xiao. I will use these 2 daggers to cut off your flesh piece by piece. I will make you suffer so much that you will wish that you were dead. While speaking, she also released her martial spirit. Her martial spirit is actually an ugly swamp monster. This is the first time Ling Xiao saw this kind of martial spirit. It is very special. Brat, I'm going to cut off your flesh inch by inch and eat it with wine. Licking the dagger in her hand, Ruri Ueno's expression became even more malevolent. It seems that she is very proud of herself. When she thought about the process of torturing Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death, she felt incomparable satisfaction. And all of this is because she loathes Ling Xiao, this lowly commoner who dares to ride on her head and obtain better results than her. Chapter 2636. In the dean's room, the 7 elders and the lightning seigneur were healing together. During this time, someone came in to report Ling Xiao's audacious behavior. Bo Yi sneered, so what if that trash barged into the interrogation room? Dean, can you let Ruri kill that guy? Of course, barging into the interrogation room is a serious crime. Although that kid's talent is not bad, the Qin state hates rebels the most. The Ling family used to be rebels. Who would have thought that this Ling Xiao would follow in their footsteps? Could it be that he's a surviving member of the Ling family? The lightning seigneur said. I'm not sure about that. After all, he's a martial artist who's reincarnated. It's not impossible for him to change his name. Bo Yi said. It doesn't matter. Since he's a rebel, there's no need to be merciful. Pass down the order. Bo Yi Ruri can punish Ling Xiao however she wants. After the lightning seigneur finished speaking, he closed his eyes again. Due to the heavy injuries from the battle with the tree fortress giant, it's not easy for him to recover. At this moment, none of the experts present thought that Bo Yi Ruri would lose to Ling Xiao. Not even the slightest bit of thought. The person who passed down the order quickly arrived at the interrogation room. He even brought a team of secret realm guards, each of them very powerful. Ha 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 ha, did you hear that, Ling Xiao? Lord Lightning Seigneur told me to punish you however I want. So what if you're right? Who told you to appear at the place where the life essence fell? Even if you didn't take the life essence, you still have to die. Bo Yi Ruri laughed excitedly. Originally, she was still a bit worried. After all, The lightning seigneur seemed to think highly of Ling Xiao. If she killed Ling Xiao, would the lightning seigneur blame her? Would he blame her family? But now, there's nothing to worry about. Lowly commoner, you country bumpkin from 8 Immortal City, are you ready to die? Bo Yi Ruri waved the dagger in her hand, looking very excited. She seemed to have forgotten the horror of the bloodthirsty plague. Lowly commoner? Hee hee. Today I let you see the wrath of a lowly commoner. Ling Xiao took a deep breath and stepped out of the interrogation room. This place was too small, making it inconvenient to escape. Although he wasn't afraid of Waino Ruri, if an expert were to come to his rescue, he would be caught like a turtle in a jar in the interrogation room. The wrath of the untouchables? Ha ha ha! With just you! Do you dare to go against our Bo Yi clan? Ruri Waino also followed him out of the interrogation room. They arrived at the square of the Arcana Academy. At this moment, there were already many people surrounding the square. These people came to watch the show after hearing about what happened in the interrogation room. Most of them were here to support Ruri Waino. After all, most people were still in awe of the 8 great families. In the state of Qin, the 8 great families were like gods. Brat, don't be stupid. How can you fight Lady Waino? Even if you work hard for your whole life, you won't be able to get that set of equipment on her. Not to mention that your cultivation is inferior to hers. Even if your cultivation is the same as hers, you will still be crushed by her. That's right, lowly commoner. Why aren't you kneeling down and begging for mercy to Miss Ruri Waino? Shut up, you're just a bunch of domesticated dogs. Ling Xiao angrily roared. This brat is crazy. That's right, he actually dares to call us dogs. Let Miss Ruri Waino teach him a lesson and stomp him to death like a bug. Angry voices came from the crowd. Miss Ruri, kill him. Miss Ruri, we support you. Ruri Waino looked at Ling Xiao with a smile. She enjoyed the feeling of being the moon surrounded by stars. Almost everyone was supporting her, hoping that she would be able to kill Ling Xiao. What a wonderful thing it would be. Did you hear that? This is the voice of the crowd. So what if you're right? Because your strength is inferior to mine, inferior to my Bo Yi clan. So your words are nothing but fart. But we can call a deer a horse, inverting black and white. Ruri Waino was clearly saying that she was calling a deer a horse. But the surrounding people didn't seem to hear her words. How do you think I should teach this brat a lesson? She loudly asked. Cut off one of his legs. No, this brat's mouth is too rotten. Just cut off his tongue. That's too easy for him. I think we should just cripple his cultivation and throw him to the Imperial Beast Garden to feed those demon beasts. In the crowd, there were all kinds of opinions. One was more cruel than the other. One was crazier than the other. It was as if in their eyes, Ling Xiao wasn't a human, but an insignificant animal. Pitiful Ling Xiao, you're obviously doing the right thing, but you're being spurned and insulted by people. Don't you feel wronged? Ruri Waino coldly laughed. She hoped to see Ling Xiao's dispirited and desperate appearance. Why should I care about the barking of a group of dogs? Moreover, as long as I kill you, these dogs will immediately shut up, because you're their master. They have to listen to you. Ling Xiao disdainfully said. Your mouth is quite tough. Let's see how long you can be tough. Ruri Waino coldly laughed, and then said, Don't worry, I won't let you die so easily. I'll cut off your flesh piece by piece. You've already said that once, so there's no need to repeat it. Only weaklings keep shouting pretentiously. Just do it. Ling Xiao took out the white jade flying dragon sword. He didn't need the 8 immortal swords to deal with Ruri Waino. Looks like you're really tired of living. Good, very good. Ruri Waino's first revolution, Yin Yang stage 9th level of hell aura suddenly burst out, piercing through the clouds. Everyone was shocked. All the onlookers couldn't help but exclaim. Only 16 years old first revolution, Yin Yang stage 9th level of hell cultivation. Miss Ruri Waino is really a genius. Ling Xiao also released his aura at the same time. However, he was only at the middle stage 9th level of hell cultivation. In his opinion, this cultivation was enough. It was just killing Ruri Ueno, so there was no need to completely expose his cultivation. Moreover, since Chun Ueno and the others didn't come, he didn't need to be anxious. He wanted to properly torture Ruri Ueno and then kill her. Otherwise, it would be hard to appease the hatred in his heart. When he saw the countless blade wounds on Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death, he almost wanted to eat Ruri Ueno alive. If he couldn't make this vicious woman suffer, he definitely wouldn't be able to appease his anger. He guessed that there were 2 reasons why Chun Ueno didn't come. One was that he was injured, and the other was that he looked down on him, thinking that Ruri Ueno could easily kill him. To be honest, he was quite afraid of the Ueno family. But so what if he was afraid? Even if the other party was the emperor of Qin country, as long as they dared to harm his friends, he had no reason to retreat. Even if he died, he would make them pay a heavy price. Chapter 2637. Ha ha ha, that kid is so funny. He's only in the middle stage of the 9th level of hell, but he dares to challenge Miss Ueno, who's in the peak stage. Moreover, she's wearing a full set of divine-grade spiritual equipment. He's dead for sure. That country bumpkin probably doesn't know what a full set of divine-grade spiritual equipment means. Let's just wait and see. At this moment, Ueno Liuli suddenly attacked. She held her dagger in a reverse grip and quickly approached Ling Xiao. Beautiful. This attack simply doesn't have any flaws. Perfect attack. That kid is probably going to die soon. Ling Xiao laughed disdainfully at the crowd's comments. Flawless? Perfect attack? But in his Tai Chi eye, Ueno Liuli was full of flaws. This proud woman didn't even think about defending when she attacked. So the flaws on her body were as numerous as the holes in a sieve. How dare you be so arrogant with such strength? What a joke! Ling Xiao wasn't going to use his beast soul transformation. With the white jade flying dragon sword in hand, he stared at Ueno Liuli and took a deep breath. Then his body shot out like an arrow from a bow. It was too fast. Ueno Liuli didn't even see how her opponent attacked, and one of her arms was already cut off and fell to the ground. Ah! Ueno Liuli screamed miserably. She didn't expect this to happen. She didn't even touch her opponent, and she lost an arm. This is impossible. I must be dreaming. Many people in the crowd rubbed their eyes. They thought they were dreaming, and that this wasn't reality, because everything in front of them was too strange. It was completely beyond their imagination. Unfortunately, when they opened their eyes, Ueno Liuli's arm was still gone. It's actually real. Ueno Liuli endured the pain. The swamp monster behind her let out a strange cry. It turned the soil under its feet into mud and fused it with Ueno Liuli's arm. Her broken arm was regenerated. Although you can't hurt me, it really hurts. It really hurts. Ruri Ueno glared fiercely at Ling Xiao. She was incomparably furious. Swamp monster, fuse! Amidst the ear-piercing roar, Ruri Ueno disappeared and was replaced by a gigantic creature. It was more than 10 meters tall, and its huge body was completely made of mud, but it was very sturdy, just like a giant. Ha ha ha! You can't even find me now. How can you hurt me? The voice seemed to be coming from all directions, making it impossible to determine where Ruri Ueno's real body was. Now, pitiful peasant, go to hell. My patience has been worn away by you. Troll blade, exterminate. As the huge swamp monster roared, a huge dagger appeared in its hand, and it slashed towards Ling Xiao. When this huge dagger was waved in the air, a strong wind blew. Rocks flew everywhere, and the surroundings were in a mess. Ueno Ruri, you actually abandoned your pride. Hee hee. I will let you know that even if you abandon your dignity to launch an attack, it will still be useless. Shadow martial arts, ghost slaying dragon, ghost war emperor. 2 moves in a row. The first move, ghost slaying dragon, was a pitch-black ghost dragon that went berserk and crashed into the huge swamp monster. It blocked the terrifying blade of the swamp monster. Then the second move, Ghost War Emperor, was accurately aimed at a certain part of the swamp monster's body. At that moment, Ruri Ueno, who was hiding in that position, was shocked. She didn't expect Ling Xiao to be able to find her exact location. When she wanted to escape, it was already too late. The terrifying sword Qi pierced through the swamp monster, and at the same time her body. Ah! Once again, Ruri Ueno let out a shocking scream and fell from the swamp monster's body. Ruri Ueno, who had fallen to the ground, was in a very miserable state. There wasn't a single part of her body that was intact, and almost all of it had been pierced through. A large amount of mud was gathering, trying to repair her body. This swamp monster's martial soul was really special. In a sense, it was almost invincible. But even so, the pain was unavoidable. Ruri Ueno felt like she was being cut into pieces by Ling Xiao. The pain she felt was 10 times, 100 times more intense than the pain she felt from Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death. She gave up her pride. She gave up her dignity. She hid in the swamp monster and tried to use it to defeat Ling Xiao. But in the end, she was still defeated. She was still found and defeated by Ling Xiao. She felt that she had lost all her dignity. She wanted to regain her dignity and her pride, but her body still couldn't heal completely. You've had enough fun. Now it's time to send you to hell. Ling Xiao and Ruri Ueno had been fighting for almost half an hour now. Ruri Ueno had also been tortured for almost half an hour. Although Ling Xiao wanted to continue, he knew that he would be in danger if he continued. So he decided to end this battle. Bloodthirsty Plague. This was Ling Xiao's second time using the Bloodthirsty Plague. Ruri Ueno's swamp monster martial soul was very strange, but it was meaningless in the face of the Bloodthirsty Plague. No, no. Seeing a large amount of black plague germs crawling onto her body, Ruri Ueno let out a terrified scream. The germs would contaminate her blood as soon as they came into contact with her wounds. Not only were her wounds unable to heal, but large amounts of her blood and internal energy were also sucked away by the germs. The intense pain caused her to let out ear-piercing screams. However, Ling Xiao just stood there and watched all of this coldly. In the crowd, the people who had been speaking ill of Ruri Ueno all shut their mouths. But just because they had shut their mouths didn't mean that Ling Xiao would forget. The plague germs didn't stop spreading. These people all had them on their bodies. Although they didn't deserve to die, Ling Xiao still wanted to teach them a lesson and make them understand. Not just anyone could laugh at them. Spare me, spare me. Screams and pleas for mercy came from the crowd. Spare you? What did you say just now? I'm just a lowly commoner. What right do I have to make you beg for mercy? Ling Xiao sneered disdainfully. Aren't you all capable people? Can you talk? Now use your abilities to save yourselves. A bunch of idiots. After experiencing so many things, Ling Xiao had already seen through them. The more benevolent you are to these people, the more arrogant and despotic they will be. When you become an evil spirit, they will become docile and obedient. Chapter 2638. At this time, Ruri's screams were still hysterical, but they were getting weaker and weaker. The terrifying plague had turned Ruri Bono into a skinny monster. In her life, she loved and cherished her beauty the most. In order to prevent other women from surpassing her, she didn't hesitate to destroy other women's beauty. This could be considered retribution. When she died in the form of a monster. There were nearly 100 people who had suffered unimaginable pain because of the bloodthirsty plague, because of their cheap mouths. But fortunately, it was only their mouths, and Ling Xiao didn't kill them. However, Ruri Ueno was in a much more miserable state. Under the torment of the bloodthirsty plague, she screamed for a full 15 minutes before dying completely. When Xin Bo heard the report and rushed to the scene, Ling Xiao had already left for half an hour. This was because when Ling Xiao left, he didn't recall the plague that he released, allowing it to trap the movements of the Arcana Academy students who were watching the show. Half an hour was the time he fought for. At this time, he had already arrived at Jihyun of Scylla's residence. When Ji-hyun of Silla saw Ling Xiao return unscathed, the shock on his face couldn't be faked. There was no way to hide it. Ling Xiao looked at Ji-hyun of Silla coldly and said, "I've disappointed you. The one who died wasn't me, but Avadinia and the others. They deserved to die." "You killed them?" Ji-hyun of Silla frowned and asked. "That's right, I killed them. Is your highness dissatisfied?" Ling Xiao asked back. "Those were my 6 most capable subordinates. You dared to kill them?" Although Ji-hyun of Silla had always tolerated Ling Xiao because of Yu Fanghua, but at this moment he couldn't hold it in anymore. "Why wouldn't I dare? I think your highness shouldn't be concerned about their deaths, but about the Bo family's revenge." Ling Xiao suddenly sneered. "What do you mean?" Chun Kanglin frowned. He knew that he might have been tricked by Ling Xiao. "What can I mean? Ruri Bo was killed by me. Do you think Chun Kanglin will come looking for trouble with you?" Ling Xiao said indifferently. "As far as I know, the Bo family is under the 14th prince. They will definitely take this opportunity to cause trouble for you." "Why should this prince be the scapegoat for the trouble you caused?" King Zhixian was famous for his intelligence, but he never thought that he would be tricked by Ling Xiao. I should be asking you. Now, the entire Thunder City knows that I, Ling Xiao, am your man. Even if you don't admit it, others won't believe you. Ling of Silla, you bastard. Do you believe that I won't kill you right now and bring you back to the Bo family?" Chun Kanglin's face was gloomy. He hated being tricked the most. "You won't." Ling Xiao was very calm. "Why?" "Because you're a smart person. You know that it won't be easy to kill me. But if you take this opportunity to destroy the Bo family's prestige, it will be more beneficial for you, right?" Ling Xiao said indifferently. Although he didn't want to admit it, Chun Kanglin knew that Ling Xiao was right. When Ling Xiao left, he had been trying to get close to Yu Fanghua and persuade Yu Fanghua to leave Ling Xiao and become his woman. But not only did he fail, he was also taught a lesson by Yu Fanghua. At that time, he realized that Yu Fanghua's strength was very terrifying. He couldn't deal with her at all. Unless Ling Xiao died in the royal mystery realm, he wouldn't be able to get Yu Fanghua to help him. But now Ling Xiao was back, safe and sound. It was impossible for him to kill Ling Xiao, but he could use this incident to get Yu Fanghua to help him get rid of Bo Yi. Even if he knew that Ling Xiao was using him, he still had to protect Ling Xiao and weaken his 14th brother's wings. Thinking of this, he said, "You're ruthless. But after this matter is over, you should leave. You killed my people. I can't accept you anymore. Otherwise, my subordinates won't be convinced." In fact, the reason Chun Kanglin did this was because he felt that Ling Xiao was difficult to control. Since he couldn't control or kill him, he might as well not keep him by his side. Of course, he didn't want to be Ling Xiao's enemy. This was the strategy he and Hong Minor came up with after discussing for a long time. If he couldn't kill or subdue him, then he would try his best not to be his enemy. Anyway, with Ling Xiao's personality, he wouldn't be willing to be under someone else. So, he didn't have to worry about Ling Xiao becoming his 14th brother's subordinate. Ling Xiao and Chun Kanglin had already discussed the plan to temporarily cooperate. Chun Kanglin still had the ability to protect Waino Ruri if he died. Of course, Ling Xiao would also help Chun Kanglin weaken the Bo Yi family's combat power. Less than 10 minutes after they had finished their discussion, Zhang Zian suddenly spoke up. A group of people rushed in from outside Ji-hyun of Silla's residence. Everyone was emitting a terrifying killing intent. They were heading straight for Ji-hyun of Silla's residence. The leader wasn't Bo Yi Ruri, but he looked very similar to Bo Yi Ruri. He was dressed in black and had a gloomy expression. It was probably because Bo Yi Ruri's injuries hadn't healed, so he couldn't come. However, this person was also very powerful. He was at the peak of Yin Yang Realm's 10th level of hell. Although he was weaker than Bo Yi Ruri, he was definitely much stronger than Ling Xiao. Behind him were the people who were poisoned by Ling Xiao's bloodthirsty plague. Ling Xiao only taught them a lesson and didn't kill them. However, They didn't know what was good for them and dared to come looking for trouble. If Ling Shao attacked again, he might not be able to keep them alive. Among the crowd, there was one person that Ling Shao was more familiar with. This person was Gu Tianba's godson, Gu Feng. Gu Feng also looked very angry, because he was Bo Yi Ruri's fiancé. Ever since Gu Tianba chose Gu Feng as his successor, Bo Yi Ruri's fiancé, Gu Mingyu, became Gu Feng. His fiancé was killed and died so miserably. How could Gu Feng not hate Ling Shao? Moreover, Ling Shao had also offended his adoptive father, Gu Tianba. No matter what the reason was, he had come here today to kill Ling Shao. Anyway, with the experts of the Bo Yi clan holding the fort, he believed that even if something happened, he wouldn't have to take responsibility. Even if the sky collapsed, there would be someone tall to hold it up. Outside the Jihyun of Silla residence, 2 guards blocked the path of the newcomers, preventing them from barging into the residence. Stop! This is the Jihyun of Silla residence. Who dares to barge in? The black-clothed, middle-aged man from the Bo Yi clan coldly walked out of the crowd and stood in front of the 2 guards. He suddenly opened his mouth and roared, "Scram!" As his thunderous voice rang out, the 2 mansion soldiers were sent flying and crashed into the door. So powerful. Chapter 2639. The soldiers of Jihyun of Silla were repelled, and they looked at the intruders in horror. However, the middle-aged man in black had no intention of killing them. He directly destroyed the snake guards at the gate of Jihyun of Silla's residence, and then broke into the prince's residence. In his eyes, the dignified Jihyun of Silla's residence was like entering a place where no one could stop him. Perhaps this guy thought that he could do whatever he wanted with the support of the 14th prince. However, as soon as the middle-aged man in black and the others entered the prince's residence, they were stopped by a group of warriors. "How dare you? This is Jihyun of Silla's residence. How dare you do whatever you want here?" This group of people was much stronger than the previous 2 soldiers. Moreover, there were many of them. To a certain extent, they were the elites of Jihyun of Silla's residence. However, the middle-aged man in black was still indifferent and arrogant. "Get out of my way, or I'll kill you all." Kill you all? Even if Bo Yi-chin came here personally, he wouldn't dare to behave so atrociously in Jihyun of Silla's residence. A man in black armor walked out from the group of soldiers. This man should be the commander of the soldiers of Jihyun of Silla's residence. Of course, he had the right to speak. When the middle-aged man in black heard this, he looked at the commander in front of him and sneered. He raised his hand, and there was a shining golden token in his hand. Look carefully, this is the command medallion bestowed by Lord Lightning Seigneur. So what? Even the Thunder Senior can't let you break into the prince's residence, right? Her Highness is not a pushover. The commander glanced at the token and said coldly, "Don't worry. We don't want to break into the prince's residence. We just want to take one person away." The middle-aged man in black obviously had some scruples about Jihyun of Silla, so he took a step back. His main mission this time was to capture Ling Shao. The reason why the Thunder Senior gave him the token was also for this matter. "Who are you taking away?" the commander said with a frown. "Ling Shao." The middle-aged man in black said the name very clearly. Although the commander was very angry with the intruder, he had the token given by the Thunder Senior. It was impossible for him, a mere commander of the prince's residence, to stop him. As for Ling Shao, he didn't know much about him. He only heard that Ling Shao had defeated no agreements and was under Jihyun of Her Highness. Thinking of this, he glanced at the middle-aged man in black and said, "I need to ask His Highness about this matter. You should leave the mansion and wait." "Leave? Humph! That's not possible." Of Silla's residence, of the Academy of Silla's residence, and hundreds of Silla of Silla's, of Silla, SEU of Jai of Silla of Silla of Silla of Silla, of Silla of Sasavov, of Silla of Soft Silla. If Her Highness Jihyun of Silla wants to protect this thief, then she will be the enemy of the Thunder Senior. Because of the Thunder Senior, the middle-aged man in black didn't even care about Ji-hyun of Silla and Chin Kanglin. His attitude was very arrogant. Listen carefully. If Ji-hyun of Silla refuses to hand over Ling Xiao today, then even if this is the residence of Ji-hyun of Silla, we will still turn it upside down. Hearing the arrogant words of the other party, the commander became angrier. But anger aside, he didn't want to cause trouble for Ji-hyun of Silla. It was hard to say whether Her Highness would protect Ling Xiao or not. But there was one thing that the commander was sure of. It was unlikely that Her Highness Ji-hyun of Silla would come forward. After all, this matter was very difficult to handle. Only a small commander like him could think of a way to deal with it. Men, go and call Ling Xiao over. He wanted to call Ling Xiao over first, and then see how to deal with this matter. Hearing the commander's words, the middle-aged man in black nodded with satisfaction, and a smug expression appeared on his face. Being able to behave atrociously in the residence of Ji-hyun of Silla was something that the Bo Yi family had wanted to do for many years. Now it had finally come true. Chun Kanglin of Ji-hyun of Silla didn't even dare to show his face. He must be afraid of the Thunder Senior. Let's not talk about him. Let's talk about Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao was currently treating the injuries of Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death in the room. Although the two girls had hundreds of cuts on their bodies, and their faces couldn't be seen clearly. But Ling Xiao had the best blood spirit pill and life martial spirit, so they could still be healed. At this moment, a loud shout came from outside the door. Ling Xiao, come out quickly. This voice made Ling Xiao quite unhappy. He was concentrating on treating his injuries and definitely couldn't be disturbed. Not only was the person outside very loud, but his voice was also infused with internal energy, so he was shouting at him unscrupulously. What's more, he wasn't Chin Kanglin's servant, but a guest. If it were any other guest, this guy's rude behavior would probably kill him directly. But Ling Xiao didn't have time for that now. He couldn't be bothered to pay attention to the guy outside. The treatment was already in the final stage, so he didn't have time to pay attention to the person outside. The person outside waited for a while and finally became angry. He came near the room and directly pushed the door open. A cold light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. However, the other party obviously didn't realize that Ling Xiao was angry. He even said arrogantly, "You don't know what's good for you. Do you really think that with His Highness protecting you, you can do whatever you want? You actually dared to cause trouble at the Arcana Academy. Don't you know that doing this will make things difficult for His Highness? Even if you're a dog, you should understand your master's thoughts. If you can't even be a good dog, you might as well die." The person who came in to report didn't see the scene of Ling Xiao defeating no agreements with his own eyes. Although he heard about it, he thought it was all nonsense. So in his opinion, Ling Xiao was just relying on His Highness Ji-hyun of Silla's favor to do whatever he wanted outside. This made him jealous and unhappy. He looked down on Ling Xiao and thought that Ling Xiao wasn't a good dog. Now, go out obediently. No matter what the Bo Yi family asks you to do, you'll bear it yourself. Don't say anything that's not good for His Highness. After he finished speaking, the person turned around and left. There was a smell of pills in the room, which made him feel very uncomfortable. Moreover, he didn't believe that Ling Xiao would dare to act recklessly. After all, this was the residence of Ji-hyun of Silla. Stop! A cold voice came out from the mouth of the little devil girl. This little devil girl was naturally Ling Xiao. In a sense, the external avatar was the owner's second body without a soul. It relied on the owner's soul force to control it. The little devil girl's words were naturally what Ling Xiao wanted to say. What? The person obviously didn't expect that a 6 or 7-year-old girl would dare to speak to him like this. Her tone even had a hint of command. "Kneel down and apologize," the little devil girl said coldly. "Apologize? You want me to kneel?" The person's eyes flashed with disdain. "Is this little girl an idiot? I'm the commander's right-hand man. Why would I apologize to a lowly commoner like you? You're asking for a beating." As he spoke, he suddenly raised his hand and slapped the little devil girl's face. Chapter 2640. The arrogant official soldier tried to slap the little demoness. However, his hand did not manage to hit the little demoness' face. His hand was cut open from his wrist. His hand fell to the ground. He was stunned for a moment before he screamed like a pig being slaughtered. You, how dare you hurt me? He looked at the little girl in front of him in horror. He finally understood that this little girl who looked easy to bully was too scary. So what if I hurt you? Chen Kanglin won't dare to say anything even if I kill you. You're his dog, and we're not. The little demoness said coldly, what do you want? What do I want? Of course, I want you to kneel down and apologize. At this moment, Ling Xiao had finished treating his wounds and stood up slowly. Little demoness, on the other hand, stood aside. Ling Xiao's voice was cold and eerie. He was releasing a terrifying killing intent from his body. Only then did the person realize what a stupid thing he had done. Everyone in this room was stronger than him. He was really stupid. You can't do this to me. I was sent by the commander. He pinched his wrist and looked at Ling Xiao in horror. He was no longer as arrogant as before. The reason why he brought up the official soldier commander was because he was not confident enough and was afraid that Ling Xiao would kill him. Commander, you don't seem to understand what I said. Even if Chen Kanglin sent you here, don't even think about leaving this room alive if you don't apologize, let alone the official soldier commander. Ling Xiao said indifferently. There was no room for negotiation. As he spoke, Ling Xiao raised his hand gently. He could take the incomer's life at any time. I apologize. The official soldier commander finally knelt down. All right, you can get lost now. Wait outside. If you dare to leave without permission, I'll make sure you die a horrible death. Ling Xiao waved his hand and an irresistible force blasted the official soldier commander out. Of course, there was also an elixir, a pill to stop the bleeding. The other party had been disrespectful to Ling Xiao, so Ling Xiao had only given him a small punishment, but not to the extent of taking his life. The man hesitated for a moment before swallowing the pill. The blood on his wrist quickly coagulated. Looking at his bare wrist, he was filled with regret. He thought that he would be able to do whatever he wanted as long as he received the order from the commander of the prefecture soldiers. He didn't expect to receive such an outcome. The hand that he lost was a lesson to him. In the future, he would not dare to offend people with unknown identities. Inside the room, Ling Xiao said to Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death, you two can rest here. I'll have the little demoness stay behind to protect you. I'm sorry, we're really useless. Not only were we unable to help, we even implicated you and made the Boyo family hate you. Lin Ruoxian said bitterly, don't say such useless words. If you're my friend, you must remember that to me, you're not tools for battle. You're living people, friends. As for the Boyo family, even without you, Boyo Liuli would still find trouble with me. In the end, I'm the one who caused this, so how can I blame you? Ling Xiao waved his hand, turned around and walked out. Everything was within his expectations, and everything was going according to his plan. If everything went smoothly, it wouldn't be Ling Xiao who was taken away today, but the people from the Boyo family who would be killed in the Jihyun of Silla residence. Why were those people able to enter the residence so easily? It was because Jihyun of Silla Chen Kanglin accepted his suggestion and deliberately let those people in. Only then would he have an excuse to kill them. Otherwise, how could the dignified Jihyun of Silla residence be so easy to break in? Wait a moment, I'll accompany you. Yu Fanghua, who had been silent all this while, slowly stood up and said, I'll be fine. Ling Xiao looked at Yu Fanghua and said, although he knew that Yu Fanghua would definitely keep him safe, he really didn't want his woman to take any risks. That won't do. If you die, where am I going to find such a good person to order around? Yu Fanghua said indifferently. Her tone was still cold, but her words were filled with deep concern. Others won't go to the king-level area of the extreme emperor mystic realm for me and get the precious extreme emperor herb. From today onwards, I, Yufeng Hua, will definitely keep an eye on you." Ling Xiao felt a warm current in his heart, but he smiled bitterly in his heart. This woman, she was clearly concerned, but she had to say it in such a cold and heartless manner. Did she have to be so arrogant? Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death were originally worried about Ling Xiao, but since Yufeng Hua was willing to help, they were relieved. One Yufeng Hua was worth 10 of them. "Sigh, I really don't know what to do with you. Then let's go together." Ling Xiao sighed. He suddenly thought of the time when he fought side by side with the Moon Lady on the Sky Dragon continent, Divine Phoenix continent, and White Tiger continent. Today, he had to face danger together with his woman once again. Perhaps this was the so-called fate. After leaving the door, the guard captain was still standing there obediently. As expected, he didn't leave. "Lead the way," Ling Xiao said coldly. However, the guard captain was a little hesitant. "What's wrong?" Ling Xiao asked. Reporting to young hero Ling, the Bo Yi family said that besides you, they will bring 2 more accomplices. One is Lin Ruoxian and the other is Moon Death. The guard captain said in a trembling voice. He was really afraid that he would be killed by Ling Xiao because of this. "Bo Yi family? Just lead the way. Don't talk nonsense." Ling Xiao snorted coldly. After killing Bo Yi Ruri, Ling Xiao's heart had gradually calmed down. He didn't expect that the Bo Yi family would still dare to cause trouble for him. They even said that they wanted to find Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death. It seemed that he would have to continue his massacre today. The guard captain didn't dare to say anything and hurriedly led the way. At this time, many martial artists had gathered in the courtyard of Jihyun of Scylla's residence. Among them were the guards and guests of Jihyun of Scylla's residence. Everyone was discussing, but the middle-aged man in black had a proud look on his face. It was as if he didn't care about these people at all. "Look, Ling Xiao is here." Suddenly, the crowd parted and someone shouted. This shout attracted everyone's attention. On the separated path, the head of the household soldiers walked in front, while Ling Xiao and Yufeng Hua, who was wearing a bamboo hat, walked side by side behind them. Although Yufeng Hua had covered her peerless face, her graceful figure and cold temperament still attracted many people's attention. It even gave people the urge to see what kind of face she had under that bamboo hat. However, the middle-aged man in black frowned. This was because there was no sign of Lin Ruoxian or Moon Death. This made the guard captain's face turn ugly. He had made it clear that he wanted Ling Xiao and the 2 women to come. Now, an unrelated person had come. Chapter 2641. "What did you do?" the commander asked coldly. The prefectural soldier's body trembled as he stretched out his right arm that had been cut off. Seeing this, the prefecture soldier commander suddenly understood. He looked at Ling Xiao and frowned. "You did this?" Ling Xiao nodded. "That's right. He broke into the guest's room and disturbed my cultivation. I'm already being nice by not killing him." "Humph, you're ruthless. Let's not talk about this for now. Did you make a scene at the Arcana Academy, take away 2 criminals and kill Wayno Rurik?" The commander snorted. "Criminals? Commander, you seem to be mistaken. I only saved 2 of my friends. I'm not a criminal. As for Wayno Rurik, yes, I did kill her. So what?" Ling Xiao did not have a good impression of this commander, nor did he want to have a good impression of him. "Your friends are criminals." "That's right. This is the residence of Jihyun of Scylla. How can you let criminals in?" Seeing that Ling Xiao ignored him, the commander was even angrier. His voice turned cold. "I don't want to hear the word criminal again. I hope you remember it. Otherwise, even Qin Kanglin can't save you." Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with killing intent. If he was a criminal, it would make sense. After all, he killed Avidinia and the others. However, if one were to say that Lin Ruoxian and Yu Shang were criminals, that would be a blatant insult to them. He could not accept it. "How dare you?" the commander roared. "How dare you call Her Highness by her name? You're asking for death." The people around, whether they were the guests of the residence or the disciples of the Arcana Academy who came with the middle-aged man in black, saw that their leader dared to talk back to the commander and even called Ji-hyun of Silla by her name. They found it unbelievable. "This kid is interesting. Too bad he's going to die after he's used." A guest of the residence sneered. Ji-hyun of Silla's order was simple. Let Ling Xiao and the Ueno family both suffer. Then, clean up the mess and kill Ling Xiao in one fell swoop. Ha ha ha, how impressive. I say, Ji-hyun of Silla is getting worse and worse. Even a dog dares to be so arrogant. You don't even respect the commander? The black-clothed, middle-aged man suddenly burst into laughter. His eyes were filled with mockery as he looked at the commander of the prefecture soldiers. It was not just a taunt, but also a provocation. Although he knew this, the prefecture soldier commander's expression was still very ugly. It was also true that Ling Xiao did not give him any face and called out King Jixian's name in front of so many people. How was he going to get off the stage? Even if you are an honored guest favored by His Highness, you cannot be allowed to bring trouble to His Highness. Lord Lightning Supreme has orders to bring you and those 2 criminals for questioning. Do it now. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. The commander's face was filled with anger. His killing intent was spreading. He looked like he was going to attack at any moment. However, before he could do anything, he was sent flying by Ling Xiao's palm. He fell into the crowd and was in a sorry state. I said, "I don't want to hear you call my friends criminals. Do you think you're fit to be the commander of Ji-hyun of Silla's residence?" It was simply laughable. Although the Ueno family is one of the 8 great families, it's a far cry from Ji-hyun of Silla. Now, they dare to step into Ji-hyun of Silla's residence to show off their power. Not only did you not chase them away, you even went along with them to find trouble with me. Do you think you're so impressive? You don't know that everything you do will be mocked by the Ueno family. You're a coward to the extreme. Ling Xiao's words silenced all the soldiers and guest elders in the courtyard. Although his words were a little overboard, they weren't without reason. Indeed, regardless of what Ling Xiao had done, the fact that the other party had barged into the residence was a huge crime. As the commander of the soldiers, the most important thing to do was to chase the enemy out of the residence before discussing whether to hand over Ling Xiao and the other 2. Although they all understood this, the only one who dared to say it out loud was Ling Xiao. The commander wasn't weak. Although he was sent flying by Ling Xiao, he wasn't severely injured. He stood up, and his terrifying aura continued to expand. He was actually a martial artist at the advanced stage of Yin-Yang Realm Level 1 transformation. Although he wasn't as strong as the middle-aged man in black, he wasn't far off. Admitting defeat was a lowly thing to do. You're courting death. The commander's anger was almost completely directed at Ling Xiao. Courting death? I don't mind having a big battle with you. But if you really have the guts, if you're really as strong as you seem, then chase this group of invaders out first. Otherwise, don't fart and keep your mouth shut. Be a coward and don't let me see you making a fuss in front of me again. How dare you? The prefecture soldier's commander was filled with rage. Although he knew that Ling Xiao was right, he couldn't afford to offend the Lightning Senior. So he definitely wouldn't dare to attack the Ueno family. He could only vent his anger on Ling Xiao. In that instant, he pulled out the long saber at his waist, and a terrifying saber aura shot into the sky. The entire space was filled with an intense killing intent. Ling Xiao had to die. How dare he humiliate him like this? Don't worry. After I kill you, these people will be dealt with. Unfortunately, you won't be able to see it. Kill me? Do you dare? Ling Xiao sneered and casually flipped his hand. He has the Lightning Senior's token. And I also have your master's token. Do you want to take a closer look? Seeing the token in Ling Xiao's hand, the crowd couldn't help but sigh. Even the commander of the prefecture soldiers was confused. What did his master, Ji-hyun of Silla, mean? Back in the Eight Immortal City, I received Jihyun of Scylla's invitation to come to Thunder City and live in Jihyun of Scylla's residence. In order to make things easier for me, Jihyun of Scylla bestowed this token to me. He said that as long as I stayed in the residence, nothing would happen. But now it seems that this is pure nonsense. Staying here, not only am I being chased by outsiders, I'm also being attacked by the commander of the residence. How laughable. Ling Zhao's words made the faces of the people in Jihyun of Scylla's residence burn. No matter what Ling Xiao did, it was true that they didn't protect Ling Xiao well. A guest who held the Jihyun of Scylla's token was actually being humiliated by others. If this spread out, it would really make Jihyun of Scylla lose face. The commander was stunned for a moment, and his face was incomparably stiff. That token was clearly real, and there was Jihyun of Scylla's aura on it. There was absolutely no way it was fake. With this token, as long as he stayed in the residence, no matter what he did, they would do their best to protect him. Instead, he had to deal with Ling Xiao. This was too embarrassing. But to ask him to protect Ling Xiao, he couldn't do it, because Ling Xiao attacked him and humiliated him. If he admitted defeat now, how could he convince others in the future? How could he establish a foothold in Jihyun of Scylla's residence? Chapter 2642. How dare you? I've been loyal to Her Highness Jihyun of Scylla since I was 13 years old, but I've never been given such a token by Jihyun of Scylla. How dare you? It's obviously fake. How dare you forge a token? You deserve to die. Forge a token? Ling Xiao was stunned. He did not expect the commander to deny Jihyun of Scylla's token in order to kill him. Not only that, but the people around nodded as if they agreed with the commander's words. I didn't expect you to be so crazy. How dare you deny Jihyun of Scylla's token in order to kill me? Ling Xiao sneered. But are you sure you're a match for me? The commander's idea was simple. He did not care if the token in Ling Xiao's hand was real or fake. As long as he killed Ling Xiao, it was up to him whether it was real or fake. Of course, the key was that he could kill Ling Xiao. He was stronger than Ling Xiao, and he firmly believed that. No matter how glib your tongue is, it's useless. The commander, who was ready to attack, suddenly leaped high and slashed at Ling Xiao with his long saber. He did not want to think about anything else. He wanted to kill Ling Xiao first. Seeing this, everyone knew that Ling Xiao was done for. The middle-aged man in black sneered secretly. Ling Xiao was killed by the commander of Jihyun of Scylla. There was no need for him to do anything. Clang! The Eight Immortal Sword appeared in Ling Xiao's hand, and he had instantly transformed into the purple Thunder Bull Beast Soul. Purple lightning flashed on the Eight Immortal Sword. It was quite shocking. Kill me. You don't have the ability. Not only did he not retreat, but he also stabbed out with his sword. Shadow Sword Demon, minor success. The terrifying demonic shadow pierced through the air and collided with the commander's saber. This attack was a combination of the purple lightning thunder bull beast soul transformation and the power of the lightning battle physique, together with the Eight Immortal Sword, which was a divine spiritual weapon. Its power was incomparably strong. The prefectural soldier commander was repelled once again, although this time around he was only forced to land on the ground and did not retreat very far. This scene caused everyone present to be endlessly astonished. Then what about Ling Xiao? Previously, it took a lot of effort to defeat No Agreements. Why does it seem like he's on par with the prefectural commander now? Yeah, it's too shocking. How did this kid cultivate? Everyone was shocked, finding it hard to understand this situation. Good lad, so you've been pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger all along. You really do harbor evil intentions. The prefecture soldier commander was shocked as well. However, what he thought of was Ling Xiao's intention of hiding his strength. In his fury, he attacked again. However, this time around, before Ling Xiao could make a move, Yu Fenghua moved gracefully and stood in front of him. What's wrong? Are you addicted to bullying my man? Seeing Yu Fenghua stepping forward, The prefecture soldier commander frowned. He was obviously a little fearful. This was because Ji-hyun of Silla had issued an order that no one was allowed to provoke Yu Fanghua. Although the prefecture soldier commander did not know what the order meant, he was still very cautious. "Get lost if you don't dare to attack," Yu Fanghua said coldly. Her words infuriated the prefecture soldier commander again. His aura became stronger, and the light on his body became even more dazzling. He actually intended to attack Yu Fanghua. Enough! At this moment, a cold voice was heard. Then, a ball of flame floated over from afar. After landing, Hong Min-er's beautiful figure was revealed. The prefecture soldier commander hurriedly retracted his aura and cupped his hands at Hong Min-er. "Miss Hong." In his eyes, Hong Min-er was the second most powerful person in the Ji-hyun of Silla residence after Ji-hyun of Silla. He could not afford to offend her. Therefore, he had always respected Hong Min-er. Or rather, he was in awe of her. The prefecture soldiers and guests were also puzzled. Why would Hong Min-er come personally? Could it be that His Highness Ji-hyun of Silla had issued a new order? Was he not going to kill Ling Xiao again? "All prefecture soldiers, listen up. Whoever dares to cause trouble in the Ji-hyun of Silla residence shall be killed without mercy," Hong Min-er said coldly. Everyone understood the meaning of this sentence. The prefecture soldier commander heard it very clearly, so he was very puzzled. "But Miss Hong, that fellow Ling Xiao, please watch your words. The token in Ling Xiao's hand was bestowed by His Highness. Are you not going to listen to His Highness?" Hong Min-er suddenly looked at the prefecture soldier commander with an extremely cold gaze. "I don't dare." He glared fiercely at Ling Xiao. He was very displeased and embarrassed. His expression was extremely ugly. "If you don't dare, then do what you're supposed to do. What Ling Xiao does is none of your business. Don't forget your duty. Protect the prince's residence," Hong Min-er added. "Yes." The prefecture soldier commander shuddered. He suddenly realized what he had done wrong. It was not because he was targeting Ling Xiao, but because he did not fulfill his duty. Ji-hyun of Silla hated people like him the most. "Hong Min-er, I heard that there's a rule in the Ji-hyun of Silla residence. Those who trespass into the prince's residence shall die. I wonder if this rule is still in effect?" Ling Xiao did not intend to continue arguing with the prefecture soldier commander. Since Hong Min-er was here, he might as well get straight to the point. "Of course," Hong Min-er nodded. "That's good. I, Ling Xiao, have always been responsible for my actions. Today's incident happened because of me. Let me end it." Although he said so, he mentioned that those who trespassed into the prince's residence would die. It was obvious that he had tied Ji-hyun of Silla to his pirate ship. Either Ji-hyun of Silla let out a fart and let the world laugh at him, or she would have to help him deal with the Bo Yi family. Ling Xiao did not care what Hong Min-er was thinking. He had already walked to the front and looked at the people from the Bo Yi family. "All of you are here to kill me, Ling Xiao. I'm right here. Come and take my life if you can." How arrogant! How domineering! Where did he get his confidence from? Does he really think that Her Highness Ji-hyun of Silla would go against the Thunder Supreme for him? Most of the people did not understand what Ling Xiao was thinking. This person was really unpredictable. When the middle-aged man in black saw this, he sneered. To be honest, if Ling Xiao was hiding in the prince's residence, he would not have dared to commit murder in the prince's residence. This time, he had only barged in to show his power to Ji-hyun of Silla. If he had really hurt her, even the Thunder Supreme would not protect him. But now Ling Xiao did not hide. Instead, he walked out and said that he would take responsibility for his actions in front of everyone. How could he let go of such a good opportunity? Tie him up. The middle-aged man in black waved his hand and shouted. As soon as he finished speaking, for people jumped out from behind him and wanted to pin Ling Xiao down. 2 people were not enough, so 4 people went up to him. It seemed like the fact that Ling Xiao was able to block the attack of the official soldier commander had caused the Bo ye clan members, to be afraid. Chapter 26:43. Up to you. Yu Fanghua stopped in her tracks when she heard Ling Xiao's words. Men were prideful, and she would give Ling Xiao face. The 4 martial artists from the Bo Yi family pounced on Ling Xiao at the same time. However, Ling Xiao only smiled coldly. The purple thunder bull beast soul transformed into the lava Cerberus beast soul. At that moment, a blazing heat suddenly spread out, scorching heaven and earth. The 4 of them, who were less than 3 meters away from Ling Xiao, felt the fear of death. The scorching heat penetrated their bones as though someone had pierced a hot iron into their bodies. Then, Ling Xiao pointed forward with one hand. The roaring lava was unstoppable. In an instant, it enveloped the 4 of them and clung onto their bodies. At that moment, the 4 of them seemed to have put on 4 sets of scorching lava armor. It was an eerie scene. Die. With Ling Xiao's shout, the 4 lava men shattered on the spot and fell to the ground. It was impossible to tell if they were human or stone. How terrifying! Everyone was trembling in fear. The 4 of them weren't fools. They were martial artists in the later stage of level 9 of Hell in Transformation 1 Yin-Yang state. In this place, they were the absolute powerhouses. However, in front of Ling Xiao, they lost their lives in an instant. No wonder Ling Xiao was so calm. With such terrifying strength, who wouldn't be calm? What's his cultivation? Hong Min, and the black-clothed, middle-aged man frowned. Their pupils contracted instantly. They thought they knew Ling Xiao very well. But at that moment, they suddenly realized that Ling Xiao was completely different from what they had imagined. His terrifying strength wasn't at the middle stage of level 9 of Hell in Transformation 1 Yin-Yang state. He was obviously much stronger than that. Could it be that his cultivation was at the peak of level 9 of Hell? Do you still want to play? Ling Xiao said calmly. Do you think you're invincible just because you're at the peak of level 9 of Hell in Transformation 1 Yin-Yang state? What a joke! The middle-aged man in black snorted coldly. Ling Xiao's strength had exceeded his expectations. However, he had an even stronger bargaining chip. Among the experts from the Bo Yi clan who came with him, there were 2 martial artists at the middle stage of the 10th level of Hell. He believed that with this level of cultivation, Ling Xiao would definitely not be able to resist again. He waved his hand and said, "It's up to you. It's best to capture him alive." The patriarch said that he wants this guy to experience the most terrible torture. Understood. The 2 of them instantly teleported and appeared in front of Ling Xiao. Whether it was his speed or his aura, he was far superior to the previous 4. This time, let's see if Ling Xiao can still survive. The commander sneered inwardly. Even he had to be wary of the 2 of them joining forces. How could Ling Xiao possibly be a match for them? Instead, at this moment, Yu Fanghua, who was standing behind Ling Xiao, made her move. In an instant, Fanghua's moonlight shone brightly. The glaring moonlight flickered for a moment, and waves of bone-piercing coldness entered everyone's bones. Then they saw 2 cold corpses. How did Yu Fanghua do it? What kind of move did Yu Fanghua use? No one saw it clearly. That graceful figure stood in front of Ling Xiao, wearing a bamboo hat that covered her face. She looked mysterious and powerful. Too powerful. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Ling Xiao was already surprising enough. How could this woman, who had been following Ling Xiao silently, be even more monstrous than Ling Xiao? With a casual strike, she killed 2 martial artists at the middle stage of the 10th level of Hell. This was a huge blow to the Bo Yi clan. To be able to do this woman's cultivation should be at least at the late stage of the 10th level of Hell. She was not inferior to the official soldier commander at all. However, only Hong Min, and the official soldier commander knew that Yu Fanghua's strength was definitely not at the late stage of the 10th level of Hell. She might be at the peak of the 10th level of Hell, or even stronger. This was also the reason why Ji Hyun of Silla did not want to provoke Yu Fanghua. The official soldier commander suddenly understood what Ji Hyun of Silla said to Qin Kanglin. At this moment, he felt a lingering fear. If it was not Ling Xiao, but this woman, his head would have been separated from his body. With such a powerful woman by his side, in addition to his own strength, he was also very strong. No wonder Ling Xiao was able to obtain Ji Hyun of Silla's token. Was Ling Xiao really a country bumpkin in the 8 Immortals County? What kind of terrifying background did he have? Killing Bo Yi Liuli did not relieve my anger. The resentment in my heart is still very strong. But I resisted the urge to go on a killing spree, because I didn't want to become a complete murderer. However, you did not know how to appreciate my kindness. Your arrival today has reignited my anger. Do you want to kill me? Then don't go back today. Ling Xiao's words had basically sealed the fate of the Bo Yi clan's warriors. In the blink of an eye, Ling Xiao unleashed his true cultivation level. A terrifying aura spread throughout the prince's mansion. The early stage of the 10th level of hell in the Yin-Yang realm. Feeling Ling Xiao's terrifying aura, everyone was shocked. Many people still remembered that when Ling Xiao had just arrived at the prince's mansion, his cultivation was not as strong as No Agreements and the others. However, it had only been 10 days, and he had already become so terrifying. In the air, there was a crazy heat that was constantly condensing. Every single member of the Bo Yi family could feel the terrifying heat coming from their bodies. Ling Xiao's body was covered in lava, and flames soared to the sky. The 3 heads of the 3-headed lava hound let out a shocking roar. Scorching hell! Following Ling Xiao's cold voice, the prince's mansion's courtyard instantly turned into a scorching hell. Lava flowed on the ground. Flames spread in the air. And all of this rushed towards the Bo Yi clan's warriors. In the terrifying scorching hell, all the warriors of the Bo Yi clan felt a fear that they had never felt before. Before the attack arrived, their clothes were already burning. Miserable screams spread throughout the scorching hell. Although the Bo Yi clan's warriors that came to the prince's mansion were all Yin-Yang realm warriors, and their cultivation had all reached the 8th level of hell. Logically speaking, they should be able to resist the scorching heat. However, in reality, they were not, because Ling Xiao's scorching hell was clearly emitting the aura of the ancient hell dragon. It was a legendary, godly flame. How could they resist it? Seeing that the people he brought were in danger of being wiped out, the black-clothed middle-aged man finally could not hold back. He suddenly roared, and a huge swamp sludge monster appeared behind him, and a terrifying aura erupted. It actually shattered the scorching hell. Immediately after, he soared into the air and charged towards Ling Xiao. It seemed like he had to do it himself if he wanted to deal with Ling Xiao. Otherwise, he would really embarrass himself here today. He was originally very calm, thinking that his subordinates could easily take away Ling Xiao. Chapter 2644. Your opponent is me. Yu Fanghua is very clear that Ling Xiao is not this black-clothed middle-aged man's opponent, so she stands out. With a casual flick of her hand, a crescent-shaped energy flies into the air, flickering with a cold light. The swamp monster released by the black-clothed middle-aged man is completely frozen. Break for me! The black-clothed middle-aged man roars, and a huge whirlpool appears on the swamp monster's body. This whirlpool forcibly sucks in the moonlight. But at this time, Yu Fanghua attacks again. The black-clothed middle-aged man can't free himself to deal with Ling Xiao. Instead, Ling Xiao shows a cold smile, looking at the remaining warriors of the Bo Yi clan. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. He doesn't have any sympathy for these people. When he was at the Arcana Academy, he thought that by teaching these people a lesson, they would remember and understand fear. But he was wrong. Not only did these people not understand his kindness, but they also colluded with the black-clothed middle-aged man to find trouble with him, wanting to take his life. Does he still need to continue being merciful? he transformed into a huge, three-headed lava hound, releasing his peak lava battle body, and rushed into the crowd with terrifying lava flowing all over his body. The terrifying lava continues to spread. Those warriors who are touched by it all let out mournful screams. Those huge claws are swinging, and every time it slaps down, someone will die. The three heads are constantly spitting lava, tearing those warriors apart. It's like an enhanced version of the three-headed lava hound. Just as Ling Shao said, he doesn't intend to be merciful. He wants all these people who dare to come against him to stay here, and don't even think about going back alive. When the people of the prince's mansion saw this one-sided slaughter, their faces were filled with astonishment and fear. The black-clothed middle-aged man brought hundreds of people from the Bo Yi clan to denounce them. The group was majestic and awe-inspiring. He ordered the prince's mansion to hand over Ling Shao and the two criminals, but no one expected the result to be so shocking. Ling Shao walked out, filled with disdain and tyranny. They mercilessly slaughtered the Bo Yi family's warriors. They slaughtered the disciples of the Arcana Academy. He flew into a rage just because his friend was bullied, only because the enemy was even more ruthless. On the other side, the black-robed middle-aged man was desperately trying to rescue the warriors of the Bo Yi clan. But reality was cruel. At this moment, he was like a clay bodhisattva crossing a river, unable to even protect himself. Yu Fenghua's attacks seemed simple and direct, but he had to expend a lot of internal energy to block each attack. As a result, he was now completely suppressed by Yu Fenghua. If anyone could see Yu Fenghua's face, they would definitely see the contempt and ridicule on her face. She could have easily killed this black-clothed middle-aged man, but she didn't do so. She was just playing. Isn't this woman a little too strong? Could it be that she's an expert from the 11th level of hell? Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. After all, the black-clothed middle-aged man's cultivation was at the peak of the 10th level of hell. If even he was suppressed by Yu Fenghua, then Yu Fenghua's cultivation was most likely at the first revolution of the Yin-Yang realm's 11th level of hell. Such a strong woman is actually willing to follow Ling Shao? What does Ling Shao do to deserve her? Many people couldn't understand. They were all jealous. Deep in the mansion, there was a pair of eyes staring at the battle here. Those eyes were filled with intense jealousy and madness. Naturally, it was Ji Hyun of Silla, Chun Kanglin. He also couldn't understand why Yu Fenghua favored Ling Shao. Chun Kanglin could still be jealous, but the black-clothed middle-aged man was only left with anger. The little bit of pride in his heart had been completely destroyed by this woman, by Yu Fenghua. When he came, he was full of mettle, arrogant, and despotic. But now he was only angry and sullen. Facing a woman, he was actually suppressed in every way, and was at a disadvantage in every move. He even saw the mansion soldiers of Ji Hyun of Silla mocking him coldly. Fight! Bo Yi family's secret technique, Swamp Poison Rain. The black-clothed middle-aged man didn't plan to do this because this was a big group technique. Once it was released, it would cover the entire Ji Hyun of Silla mansion. He could prevent his own people from getting hurt, but he couldn't care about anything else. The terrifying swamp sludge monster turned into a violent storm of poison. Swept by the fierce wind, it blasted towards Ling Shao first, because in the black-clothed middle-aged man's opinion, the woman in the bamboo hat attacked because of Ling Shao. As long as Ling Shao was killed, everything would stop. This guy is crazy. Everyone defend. The warriors of Ji Hyun of Silla Mansion saw how terrifying this secret technique was. The horrifying poisonous rain didn't recognize enemies. As long as they weren't allies, they would be attacked crazily and eventually killed. Seeing this, the mansion soldiers' commander and Hongmin joined forces to form a giant inner energy shield above the mansion soldiers. The mansion soldiers also released their inner energy to defend. However, those who reacted slower were instantly corroded by the horrifying poisonous rain and turned into a pile of rotting corpses. That scene was too horrifying. Vicious indeed. Yu Fanghua snorted when she saw this. She formed a seal with her hands and blasted it towards the sky. Moonlight martial arts, Guanghan seal. A patch of moonlight appeared behind her. She spoke in a low voice. Then, a palm print flew out from the moonlight. It grew in the wind and instantly became huge. In the blink of an eye, the entire sky above her head was covered in ice. Kacha! The sound of something breaking was heard. The poisonous rain that was completely frozen broke into pieces. Under the influence of the Guanghan seal, it turned around and attacked the black-clothed, middle-aged man in the sky. This scene was strange and shocking. The black-clothed, middle-aged man was shocked. He quickly channeled all his inner energy into his martial soul. Swamp Monster Fusion. This was a move that Waino Lili had used before. However, Waino Lili had used it to kill Ling Xiao. The black-clothed middle-aged man was using it to protect himself. This swamp monster was slightly different from Waino Lili's. Waino Lili's swamp monster held a dagger and was in an attacking position. However, this one was kneeling on one knee and holding a giant shield to block Yu Fanghua's attack. The black-clothed middle-aged man clearly knew that if he didn't block it, the horrifying Guanghan seal would make him die a horrible death. Boom! A horrifying sound was heard as the palm print blasted onto the giant shield. The poisonous rain covered a large area. In an instant, the swamp monster was defeated. The black-clothed, middle-aged man was sent flying. However, his cultivation wasn't weak. He managed to adjust his posture in midair. In the end, he only managed to break the wall of the mansion before he got up. He was terrified and wanted to defend himself. However, he realized that Yu Fanghua didn't chase after him. Instead, she was looking at the other side of the battlefield, coldly. Chapter 2645. Ling Xiao's battle with the Bo Yi family's martial artists was nearing its end. From the start to the end, he did not use any martial techniques, and only used his lava Cerberus body to slaughter those people. The terrifying lava Cerberus not only had astonishing defensive power, but also had a terrifying top-grade lava battle body. Together with the powerful Hell Dragon fire, its power was simply off the charts. The pitiful Bo Yi family's martial artists, although they were not weak, but under such an attack, they could not retaliate at all. The black-clothed middle-aged man could only watch as Ling Xiao massacred his own people, unable to do anything. Even though his face was extremely gloomy, his anger had reached its peak. But because he was afraid of the terrifying Yu Fanghua, he could only focus on defending. If not, even he himself would die. Yu Fanghua was too powerful. He really did not know. When did Jihyun of Scylla's residence have such a terrifying woman, making their plan this time become extremely stupid? It was also a failure. Not long later, the enemies that were burned by the lava and slapped to death by the giant claws were all lying on the ground. Other than the black-clothed middle-aged man, there was only Gufang left among the people who came to denounce Ling Xiao. The heroic Gufang at this moment was trembling all over like a sieve, constantly shivering. He actually did not have any feelings for Bo Yiruri. The reason why he came to take revenge for Bo Yiruri was because he felt that Ling Xiao was easy to bully, and he could use this matter to gain the approval of the Bo Yi family. Who knows? If the Bo Yi family was happy, they might betroth another girl to him. Anyway, there were many girls in the Bo Yi family. Not only Bo Yi Ken's daughter, but now he regretted it, thoroughly regretted it. For some illusory benefits, he used up all the treasures that Gu Tianba gave him and barely kept his life. But his body was already extremely tired and his internal energy was almost exhausted. If Ling Xiao continued to attack, he believed that he would definitely die. There would not be a second answer. The man with the golden mask, trembling body, was Bai Zhe. His anger was gone. His heroic spirit was also gone. All that was left was fear and despair. Although none of the people around him had a higher cultivation level than him, there were still some who had the same cultivation level as him. However, those people had all turned into corpses, And the most powerful one, Bo Yi-shin's younger brother, the biggest backer in their hearts, was currently being forced to flee and hide by a woman. He didn't even dare to fight. Ling Xiao returned to his original form and looked coldly at Gu Feng, who had lost all ability to resist. He said coldly, "This matter originally had nothing to do with you. But why did you come to provoke me? Do you think I'm easy to bully? You can also take credit for it? Now, what do you have to say?" Among these people, the only one that Ling Xiao knew by name was Gu Feng, Gu Tianba's godson. Plop! The heavy sound even shattered the ground. Gu Feng was so frightened that he knelt on the ground, his legs trembling. He was terrified to the extreme. Yes, he just wanted to take some credit for it. He didn't really hate Ling Xiao, but he wanted Ling Xiao to die for such an insignificant reason. Ling Xiao found it even harder to forgive such a person. Gu Feng wanted to make a name for himself, but he was even more afraid of death. When death was about to befall him, he was completely listless. When we were at the Arcana Academy, you hid in the crowd and attacked me. You are simply despicable and shameless. I was really too merciful for not killing you at that time. For people like you, only death can make you afraid. Ling Xiao's flaming claws grabbed Gu Feng's neck, and the flames roasted his neck. Gu Feng kept swaying his body and roared in fear. "Spare me, spare me. If you let me go, my godfather can give you everything you want." He struggled with all his might, but he couldn't break free from Ling Xiao's hands. Gu Feng could only beg for mercy. But he didn't know that Ling Xiao didn't have any good impression of Gu Tianba. He actually dared to use Gu Tianba as a bargaining chip. This could be considered as accelerating the speed of his death. "Your godfather is Gu Tianba, right? What a pity. I have a deep enmity with him. He almost wiped out my friend's entire family. I'll avenge my friend." Ling Xiao mocked. "I heard that before you became his godson, you were always abusing your power in Thunder City and harming poor girls. After you became that old bastard's godson, you became even worse. I've investigated and found that there are hundreds of corpses of young girls in the deep well of your house. They died very miserably. I don't care what you did to them. In short, you're a beast that everyone has the right to kill. That's enough for me." "Stop, Ling Xiao. You've already provoked the Bo Yi clan. Don't tell me you want to provoke the Gu clan as well. You actually want to provoke 2 of the 8 great clans at the same time. Do you really want to die?" Hong Min suddenly shouted loudly. "You're meddling in other people's business again. Do you still remember that vicious woman in the restaurant? You also told me that I can't afford to provoke her clan." Ling Xiao sneered and exerted more strength in his hand. His magma-covered right hand ruthlessly pierced Gu Feng's neck. At this point, Gu Feng was dead. Only the black-clothed, middle-aged man from the Bo Yi clan was still alive. Ling Xiao looked at him with contempt and said, "Bo Yi-shin's younger brother? Hee, you don't look like much to me. Come and kill me if you have the guts. If you don't, what are you doing here? Making a fool of yourself? Brat, you'll definitely regret this. You don't even know what you've done. You'll suffer the most terrifying revenge in the world for what happened here today. Just you wait." The black-clothed, middle-aged man dodged Ju Fenghua's terrifying attack and instantly fled to the Ji Hyun of Silla's residence. Only then did he dare to turn around and shout. "What a senseless nonsense!" Ling Xiao said with disdain. "You've said this more than once. You've always said that I'll die and that I'll regret it. But let me tell you now, I won't regret it. The one who will regret it will be you, because you won't be able to leave here alive today. Without that woman, how can you be so arrogant?" The black-clothed middle-aged man was obviously very unhappy. If it wasn't for Yu Fanghua, he wouldn't be in such a miserable state today. He would definitely be able to complete his mission and kill Ling Xiao. What a joke. Without the Bo Yi clan, what are you? Everyone has something they rely on. I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of. You're just saying that the grapes are sour when you can't eat them. What a joke. Ling Xiao said with disdain. I like the way you put it. Yu Fanghua suddenly said. Her body suddenly moved, and she was already in front of the black-clothed, middle-aged man. I've played with you for so long. It's too boring. Chapter 2646. Yu Fanghua's jade-like hand gently stretched out, and a shining moonlight palm imprinted on the black-clothed, middle-aged man's body. That person didn't even have time to dodge, and his body was directly smashed to the ground. His entire body instantly froze and then shattered into pieces. Yu Fanghua suddenly felt that she liked Ling Zhao's character more and more. It was as if they were born to hit it off. However, she didn't know that her sudden attack had shocked everyone in Jihyun of Scylla's residence. This graceful and holy figure, with just a light palm, had taken the life of a First Revolution Yin-Yang realm martial artist at the peak of the 10th level of hell. This woman definitely possessed strength second only to the Thunder Emperor and the Thunder Seigneur. Ling Xiao didn't notice that Jihyun of Scylla and Chen Kanglin had quietly left when he was fighting with the Bo Yi clan. As for where they went, he didn't know. After killing all the people from the Bo Yi clan who came to seek revenge, Ling Xiao thought that he might as well bring Yu Fanghua and kill their way into the royal palace. However, after thinking about it, he decided not to. Although it was said that the Thunder Emperor was only slightly stronger than the Thunder Seigneur, it was just a rumor. However, rumors were just rumors. Who knew how powerful the royal family was? What Ling Xiao could do was to try his best to prevent Yu Fanghua from taking any risks. Unless there was a day when his strength was on par with the Thunder Emperor and the Thunder Seigneur, he didn't want to take any risks. He could leave for now. Ling Xiao had already obtained the Emperor's supreme grace, so the Emperor's mystery realm wasn't of much use to him for now. He prepared to leave Thunder City and continue his travels. Of course, before leaving, he planned to send Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death back to the 8 Immortal City. After experiencing the previous incident, he really didn't want Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death to take any risks with him. After all, not everyone had great potential like him, and their cultivation increased so quickly. As for Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death, all they had to do was take one step at a time. He returned to the 8 Immortal City to send Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death back. He also wanted to see if the Ling family was ready. Before he left, he went to look for Ling Yan. However, when he arrived at Ling Yan's residence, he didn't see anyone. Instead, he saw a message. "Boss, I went to the 8 Immortal City. I just got the news that the 14th Prince Chen Songxiong has sent the 8th Prince there in an attempt to take back the ruling power of the 8 Immortal City from Jihyun of Scylla. Why would he do that? Why was the 8 Immortal City so important? I don't know, but I have to go and take a look. Boss, you should come back quickly. Before you come back, I will help you guard the 8 Immortal City." After reading the contents of the letter, Ling Zhao's expression changed drastically. The 8th prince was rumored to be a licentious prince. As the 14th prince's vassal, he liked women the most. The 8 Immortal City was now Ling Zhao's territory. If this guy went there and messed around, he wouldn't let it go. Let's go back to the 8 Immortal City immediately. Ling Xiao didn't have time to explain further. He notified Lin Ruoxian, Yu Fanghua, and Moon Death, and then rushed to the 8 Immortal City. 8th Prince, although I'm not familiar with you, if you dare to touch my territory, I will definitely kill you. Outside the 8 Immortal City, there was a group of people stationed. They looked mighty and extraordinary. The 8th Prince rode a tall demon beast and looked at the 8 Immortal City in the distance, indifferently. In just 10 days, he had conquered almost all the towns in the 8 Immortal City. Now, only the county city and Ascension Town were left unconquered. What gave him a headache was that the city and Yuhua Town were protected by strange arrays. After his soldiers entered, they either got lost or were sneak attacked. In the end, they could only retreat in panic. Today, he gathered almost all the martial artists in the other towns and formed a huge suicide squad. There were over 1 million people in this suicide squad. Obviously, these martial artists were trash in the eyes of the 8th Prince. Trash not worth mentioning. These people were existences that could be sacrificed at any time and were absolutely not worthy of sympathy or pity. With more than 1,000,000 people, even if each of them spit, they could drown the 8 immortal city. Ha 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 ha. Although I don't know why the 14th prince is so interested in the 8 immortal city. Since I have accepted this mission, I have to complete the order. Pass down the order. The suicide squad will attack. No one is allowed to retreat. Whoever dares to retreat will be killed without mercy. The 8th prince laughed loudly. He was sitting on a huge puppet war chariot. There were beautiful women serving him on both sides. He was eating delicious fruits and was very comfortable. The millions of death warriors stood there, trembling. Although they were not bound, their hearts were bound by fear. The 8th prince only had more than 1,000 people. They had more than 1,000,000 people, but they did not dare to resist, because the 1,000 people were all martial artists above the 8th level of the yin-yang realm of hell. Most of them were not even in the half-step yin-yang realm. The huge gap in strength made them unable to resist, because they knew that resisting meant death. To these townspeople and martial artists, the terrifying 8th prince and his subordinates were simply invincible. It was as if a god had sent down heavenly punishment. Almost everyone was trembling. Everyone was in despair. They knew that if they did not obey, they would die, and if they moved forward, they would also die. The terrifying array of the 8 immortal city was not easy to break. Ha ha, Ling Xiao, oh Ling Xiao, don't you know that the 13th prince is also the 14th prince's subordinate? Don't you know that Wayno Liuli also had a relationship with me? If you dare to harm them, I will kill your people. Even if these 1,000,000 people cannot take down the 8 immortal city, with so many people dead, your territory will become a dead zone. The 8th prince had never seen Ling Xiao, but Ling Xiao's name often rang in his ears. Whether it was the 13th prince who was tricked, or Wayno Liuli who was killed, he knew all of this. The only thing he did not know was what happened in Thunder City. Ling Xiao killed all the Wayno family martial artists who went to find trouble with him. Everyone listen up. Your misfortune came from one person, your lord Ling Xiao. He should not have offended the 14th prince, and he should not have killed my woman, Wayno Liuli. Now, you can either charge forward and destroy the 8 immortal city and destroy everything Ling Xiao has, or accept our verdict and die here. The 8th prince regarded human life as nothing more than grass. In his eyes, the lives of millions of people could be killed at will. What do they mean by Ling Xiao's people? Does the 8 immortal city not belong to the Qin state? This guy was really unscrupulous in order to deal with Ling Xiao, regardless of the consequences. He was so crazy that it made people's hair stand on end. Hearing the 8th prince's order, some people lifted their feet, but there were even more people who were unwilling to accept it. Why should they die like this? The enemy only had 1,000 people, but they had millions. Chapter 2647. The 8th prince's order was equivalent to sentencing the millions of warriors to death in front of everyone. No matter what, they would die. How should they choose? Are you all stupid? Are you all going to die under that person's command? Suddenly, a voice came from the crowd. This sentence struck everyone's heart hard. Many people did not recognize the young man who shouted, but they knew that he was very strong. They seemed to have found their backbone. With someone leading them, they dared to do things that they would not normally dare to do. That 8th prince treated you like livestock. He drove you to your deaths. But are you all really willing? If you resist, you may die, but at least you will die with dignity. If you don't resist, you will still die, and you will die without any dignity. We have millions of people. Even if we can't kill all of them, we can still drag a few down with us, right? We must let the Chun Kingdom's royal family know that we, the bottom-tier warriors, are not to be bullied. The young man's roar reverberated through the entire wasteland. Everyone in the wasteland could hear him clearly. What a joke! You don't even dare to say your name. Do you think anyone will believe your words? The 8th prince looked coldly at the young man who shouted. He felt that he looked familiar, but he could not recall who he was. The millions of death warriors looked at the young man. They also wanted to know who this young man was. If it was an unknown person who instigated them, they would not be fooled. Everyone, listen up. My name is Ling Yan. I am the son of Marquis Ling. Marquis Ling fought bloody battles for more than 10 years to protect the peace of the Qin kingdom's borders. He did not even see his wife and son for a long time. However, he was killed by the Qin kingdom's royal family for betrayal. Killing 10 families was not enough to vent their anger. They even killed the good friends of the Ling family. That day, Qinguilei almost turned into hell. I survived because I was unwilling to accept this. Marquis Ling is like this. Do you people still not understand? Your outcome will only be worse than Marquis Ling's. They treat their own people as if they are cruel and ruthless enemies. Ling Yan's voice rang out again. You can choose not to listen to me and do as they say, but I can guarantee you that your family and friends, even if they don't die, will be taken away by them to be slaves. Your wives and daughters might even be sold to the brothels as prostitutes for officials. Weakness would only make them more arrogant. On the other hand, resistance can make them fearful. Well said. Finally, someone began to respond to Ling Yan's call. I am a refugee from Leidu and came to the 8th Immortal City. My daughter was defiled by the 8th Prince. Originally, I didn't want to mention this kind of ugly thing. I just want to secretly accompany my crazy daughter for the rest of my life. But even after I hid in a small, uninhabited village, he still managed to find me. Not only did he kill my daughter, but he also made me a member of the Dare to Die army and made me work for him. Inhumane. The detestable royal family doesn't treat us as human beings. Let's fight. We have millions of people. Do you think we are afraid of thousands of them? With so many people, once they were incited, they would form a terrible torrent of anger. In order to not let their wives and daughters be defiled, they also wanted to die like men. These people were going to rebel. Anyway, they would die anyway, so it was better to die with dignity and die with vigor. Ling Yan became the leader of these people. Because he was strong enough and fearless, all the Dare to Die army turned around and looked at the 8th Prince's thousands of people. Ling Yan stood at the front and looked at the other side. This time he came here to kill the 8th Prince and avenge his people. On the other hand, he wanted to protect the 8th Immortal City for Ling Shao. If these millions of people really rushed to the 8th Immortal City, then no matter how powerful the formation was, it would be filled with corpses. The 8th Prince's people could naturally rush in. No matter what the reason was, they did not allow him to retreat. Kill! Ling Yan shouted loudly. Kill! 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 Orderly voices rang out behind him, like the sound of thunder that shook the heavens. A group of ants dare to resist. Since they want to die, kill them. Kill the leader first. I want to see if they have the courage to continue to resist. The 8th Prince did not want to be completely incompatible with the millions of Dare to Die army. After all, even if they were ants, millions of them would be very terrifying. What's more, they were all warriors. Moreover, he also wanted to use the Dare to Die army to attack the 8th Immortal City. Whether these people died or his people died, it would be a pity. Therefore, he wanted to capture the leader first. He believed that as long as he killed Ling Yan, these people would collapse without a fight. They were just a motley crew. What could they do? The war finally broke out. Millions of Dare to Die army rushed to the thousands of experts, led by the 8th Prince, like a swarm of ants. The two sides fought in the wilderness. At this time, on the tower of the 8th Immortal City, Jihyun of Silla and Chun Kanglin sat there and looked at the battlefield indifferently. Jihyun of Silla, let's go. That Ling Yan is the Lord's brother. We can't just sit here and watch. The one who spoke was the current deputy mayor of the 8th Immortal City, Sire Shui. Ling Zhao's people only moved in the dark. On the surface, the 8th Immortal City was ruled by Sire Shui. The rest of the warriors who were subdued by Ling Zhao assisted him. But to be honest, those people were controlled by Ling Zhao's poison pill and did not dare to act rashly. However, Jihyun of Silla was different. He didn't know where he got the antidote for the poison pill and saved those people. Some of the people from the Eight Immortals Mountain, almost all the warriors from the Tianfeng group, and most of the warriors from the High Duke's public house. It was these people who allowed Ji Hyun of Silla to easily enter the Eight Immortal City and make Sire Shui and the others a mere figurehead. At this time, Ji Hyun of Silla's people had already started a big purge in the Eight Immortal City. They wanted to get rid of all those who were loyal to Ling Xiao. Qin Kanglin thought about it. It was impossible to melt Yu Fenghua's ice mountain with just ordinary contact. Unless Ling Xiao gave up on Yu Fenghua and became his dog. And what he was thinking was naturally a threat. He wanted to threaten Ling Xiao's friends and family in the Eight Immortal City as hostages. Although it was a little despicable, Ji Hyun of Silla did not care. He wanted Ling Xiao to become his loyal dog and Yu Fenghua to become his woman. That day, in Ji Hyun of Silla's public house, he saw how powerful Yu Fenghua was and understood what it meant to have Yu Fenghua. He also saw how powerful Ling Xiao was and understood what it meant to subdue Ling Xiao. Therefore, he did not care about being despicable. He just wanted to make Ling Xiao hesitate. Chapter 2648. Let him be quiet. Chun Kanglin waved his hand and signaled his subordinates. Among the subordinates who followed him to the Eight Immortal City, the weakest one was at the 9th level of hell. How could Elder Shui be their match? Although he wanted to resist, he was soon knocked unconscious. Your Highness, how should we deal with this person? Lock them up together and watch over them. I want to let Ling Xiao know that I'm the only one who can decide the future of the Eight Immortal City. He's just an ant and can't do anything. Chun Kanglin sneered. Originally, he was a scheming person and would never do something so impulsive. All of this was because of Yu Fenghua. Yu Fenghua made Chun Kanglin crazy and impulsive. He wanted to use this extreme method to make Ling Xiao submit. In the distant battlefield, the battle was still ongoing. Although the 1 million kamikaze soldiers were weak, they were not at a disadvantage against the Eighth Prince's thousands of men because of their large numbers. As the saying goes, many ants can bite an elephant to death. Hundreds of the thousands of men had been killed. Of course, the kamikaze soldiers had suffered more casualties. 100,000 of them were killed on the battlefield. 100,000 against 100,000. The Eighth Prince was furious because every one of his subordinates was a treasure. In his eyes, the kamikaze soldiers were just lowly commoners. It did not matter how many of them died. They had always wanted to capture the ringleader and capture Ling Yan. However, Ling Yan's strength was beyond his expectations. Although he was injured, he became more courageous as the battle progressed. He was like a demonic dragon, which was terrifying. Don't care about those lowly commoners. Kill Ling Yan with all your might. The Eighth Prince could no longer sit still. He leaped into the air and pounced on Ling Yan. He knew that he had to take action. If this continued, he would lose more than half of his subordinates, even if he killed all of the 1 million men. It was not something he could bear. After all, these people were sent to him by the 14th Prince. The 14th Prince was powerful and vicious. Even if he was the 14th Prince's elder brother, he would be severely punished when he returned. If things went wrong, he could only apologize with his death. He did not want to die. Absolutely not. Kill. An even more terrifying attack enveloped Ling Yan. Ling Yan alone had attracted all the attacks from the enemy. The kamikaze soldiers on the outside had an easier time. However, Ling Yan was in danger. More and more injuries appeared on his body, and the strange thing was that his skin also began to undergo some strange changes at an accelerated rate. Strange feathers grew out of his skin. The golden feathers shone with a dazzling light. When the transformation happened, Ling Yan looked like he was in great pain and had almost lost his ability to fight. I can't die. I can't die yet. Once I die, those people will immediately collapse. Ling Yan was very clear about the current situation. The only reason the 1,000,000 death warriors dared to resist was because he was the leader. But once he died, these people would definitely give up fighting out of fear. When the eighth prince saw this situation, he was extremely excited. Hence, he intensified his attacks. Chun Kanglin, Jihyun of Silla, slowly stood up on the city tower. It's almost time to make a move. Ling Yan is not only a remnant of the Thunder City's Ling family, but he is also Ling Zhao's good brother. I don't believe that Ling Xiao won't give in with him as a hostage. He suddenly rushed out, crossed 1,000 meters, and came directly to the battlefield. The experts who followed him also arrived one after another. All of you, stop! Chun Kanglin let out a roar. This voice was like a clap of thunder that fell into the battle formation. Whether it was the eighth prince's side or the kamikaze army's side, everyone felt a splitting headache and had to stop the dispute. Where did this bastard come from? How dare he interfere with our battle? The eighth prince was about to give Ling Yan a fatal blow, but he was disturbed by others. This made him very unhappy. He cursed before he saw who it was. The kamikaze soldiers were frightened. The intruder was so powerful. If it was an enemy, they would be finished. Eighth brother, you really have time. You know that the 8 Immortals County is under my protection. How dare you come here to make trouble? Jihyun of Silla looked at the eighth prince coldly. His voice was cold and murderous. So what if they were brothers? He didn't care about the fight for the throne. Not only did he not care, but his competitor, the 14th Prince Chun Kangming, also didn't care. Haha, I was wondering who it was. So it's second brother. Since you are here, why didn't you say anything? I had no choice. How could I not carry out 14th brother's order? After all, 14th brother's cultivation and status are much higher than mine. The 8th prince frowned when he saw that it was Jihyun of Silla, but when he saw that Hong Min was not beside Jihyun of Silla, he was relieved. In Thunder City, no one knew Chun Kanglin's real cultivation. Everyone knew that he was intelligent, but when it came to strength, no one knew. On the contrary, the woman beside Chun Kanglin, Hong Min, was very powerful. The 8th prince knew that he was no match for her. Cut the crap. Go back and tell Chen Songxiong that the 8 Immortals County is mine. If he wants it, he can come and beg me. But I will not agree to this method. Chun Kanglin looked at the 8th prince coldly. Second brother, you don't have to be angry. You should know that 14th brother has the absolute advantage in the fight for the throne. The mysterious world respects martial arts. No matter how smart you are, it doesn't mean anything. It's better to pledge allegiance to 14th brother. I can help you find a good job. The 8th prince was not afraid of Chun Kanglin. As long as Hong Min was not there, he believed that he could defeat his second brother. As long as he defeated Jihyun of Silla, even if he couldn't take the 8 Immortals County, he could atone for his mistakes. It could even be regarded as a great contribution. From what you're saying, you want to fight with me? Jihyun of Silla Chun Kanglin snorted and looked at the 8th prince with disdain. You think you can crush me with your strength at the early stage of the 10th level of hell, right? You think I'm only obsessed with wisdom and don't have strong strength, right? So what if I fight? Besides, second brother, you're wrong. I'm no longer at the early stage of the 10th level of hell. I'm now at the late stage of the 10th level of hell. With the help of 14th brother, I've made a huge breakthrough. The 8th prince laughed. I gave you face and called you second brother. If I didn't give you face, you wouldn't even be a fart. Do you really think you can show off in front of me? Nonsense. A strange black thunderbolt suddenly appeared behind Jihyun of Silla Chun Kanglin. As he spoke, he suddenly flashed and appeared in front of the 8th prince. Chapter 2649. Boom! The black palm print landed on the 8th prince. The 8th prince had no chance to react. It was too fast. It was too terrifying. The 8th prince felt as if his body was being corroded by something. His entire body was on the verge of collapsing. He looked at Jihyun of Silla in horror and let out a shrill scream. Don't worry, we're brothers after all. I won't kill you, but from now on, you'll become a complete cripple. Just be a good prince and get lost with him. Qin Kanglin waved his hand coldly. The people who originally followed the eighth prince were all looking forward to the battle. However, they were not in the mood to do so now. Everything was too unexpected. Qin Kanglin of Jihyun of Silla was too powerful. He had severely injured the eighth prince, who was at the late stage of level 10 of hell. Also, what was with the black lightning? It was full of evil and terror. What kind of martial arts did Qin Kanglin practice? Although they had countless questions, they did not dare to ask. The moment Qin Kanglin appeared, it meant that they had lost. They took the severely injured eighth prince and fled into the distance. At this time, the kamikaze army let out thunderous cheers. Qin Kanglin had defeated the eighth prince, so he should be one of them. Long live Jihyun of Silla! Long live Jihyun of Silla! Qin Kanglin of Jihyun of Silla was not happy at all when he heard the cheers. What was the use of these ants respecting him? He wanted Ju Fanghua. Your Highness, is that really Jihyun of Silla? How could he be so terrifying? He even attacked you for the sake of the 8 Immortals County. Why? Someone asked the eighth prince while they were fleeing. I don't know the details, but according to the records of the royal family, the 8 Immortals County seems to have the complete inheritance left by the beast god prince of the Black Tortoise continent. The inheritance includes the beast god position of the 12 beast gods and the beast soul of the sun god. Once he obtained those items, he would be able to dominate the entire Black Tortoise continent. This is probably the fundamental reason why 14th brother and 2nd brother compete for the 8 Immortals County. The 8th prince thought about it, and this was the only reason he could think of. But in the end, that's only a legend. The Chun nation has been established for so many years, and countless people have been searching for that sun god's inheritance. Unfortunately, no one has ever found it. Another person said, "Who knows? Let's hurry back and report what happened here to 14th brother." Right now, the 8th prince only wanted to rush back to Thunder City as soon as possible and then heal himself. In fact, his guess was right. The 14th prince, Qin Songxiong, and the 2nd prince, Qin Kanglin, were fighting over that thing. Although it was just a legend, no one wanted the 8 Immortals County to fall into the hands of the other party. Even if the city of the 8 Immortals was in the hands of a neutral party, it wouldn't be a problem. Unfortunately, the 2 princes did not know that what they wanted had already been obtained by Ling Xiao. In this world, it was impossible for a second person to obtain the same thing. There's someone ahead. When the 8th prince and his group were running for their lives, they suddenly discovered that someone was rushing over from the front. There were 5 people, 1 man, 3 women, and a little girl. Hee, those 3 women are pretty good looking, especially the one wearing a bamboo hat. Although I can't see her face clearly, the way she moves is so graceful. The aura she releases is also intoxicating. Kill that man and capture the other 4 alive. The 8th prince suddenly sneered. Yes. His subordinates all understood the 8th prince's character, although his cultivation was crippled and his body was seriously injured. When he saw a woman, he still could not help himself. After all, he was a prince, so they could not say anything. Besides, they were just passers-by. If they killed them, then so be it. They had long been accustomed to this kind of thing and did not care at all. Go. 2 of them broke through the air and headed straight for the young man. However, before they arrived, they had already seen the terrifying killing intent in the young man's eyes. They had only seen this kind of killing intent in the eyes of their master, the 14th prince. At that moment, their bodies trembled. Panic spread in their hearts. They wanted to escape, but they found that a sword light was quickly approaching them. When they wanted to shout out their identities to threaten the other party, they had already become 2 corpses. How dare you! Seeing this, the 8th prince shouted at the top of his lungs. However, what responded to him was still a fierce sword light. His head fell from his body and fell heavily to the ground. However, none of these passers-by stopped. They seemed to have something urgent and disappeared with a gust of wind. The remaining people looked at the 8th prince's corpse in horror. They were all glad that they were not the ones who attacked just now. Brother Ling Shao, that person, just now, seemed to be the 8th prince. On the way, Moon Death suddenly said, I know, but so what? I just cleaned up a piece of trash. It was not the first time Ling Shao killed a prince. The first time, the 13th prince was saved by Ji-hyun of Silla. This time, the 8th prince came from the 8 Immortals County, just by looking at his direction. Not only did he attack the 8 Immortals County, but he also attacked him. If he did not kill such a person, was he going to keep him alive? You're right. Trash needs to be cleaned up. Yu Fenghua nodded and said, Ling Shao, I find that you are becoming more and more to my liking. Did we really know each other in our previous life? Of course. Ling Shao nodded and increased his speed again. Sister Ruoxian and Moon Death, the two of you be careful. Fenghua and I will go first. If there is any danger ahead, I will help you deal with it. Seeing the 8th prince, Ling Shao was very worried about the situation in the 8 Immortals County. Although he did not know what had happened, he was afraid that things had gone beyond his expectations. He did not know how Ling Yan was doing. His good brother definitely couldn't die. Outside the 8 Immortals County, Ji-hyun of Silla, Chun Kanglin had already ordered people to capture Ling Yan. Although Ling Yan's current situation did not seem right, this person's explosive power was still very terrifying. Chun Kanglin did not want any accidents to happen. Everyone, this king saved you, right? After capturing Ling Yan, Chun Kanglin suddenly smiled and looked at the remaining nearly 900,000 death warriors. Seeing his smile, the death warriors' hearts could not help but tremble. This smile was too fake. It was like a smiling tiger. Yes, thank you Ji-hyun of Silla for saving our lives. A few leaders stood out from the death warriors. They were the most courageous people in the battle just now. Very good. Then this king will ask you to do something. You won't object, right? Chun Kanglin continued. It's coming. Everyone was very worried. They had just come out of the wolf's den. Were they going to enter the tiger's mouth again? Chapter 2650. Your Highness, please tell us what you need. The Suicide Squad looked at Ji-hyun of Silla and Chun Kanglin with trepidation. Even though they knew that they had just escaped from the wolf's den and entered the tiger's mouth, there was nothing they could do. In the face of the powerful Ji-hyun of Silla, they were powerless. Previously, Ling Yan could inspire their fighting spirit, but now, Ling Yan was also captured. What could they do? They could only bow their heads and obey. Very good. Chun Kanglin nodded with satisfaction and said, You will guard outside the 8 Immortals City. When Ling Shao comes back later, if he wants to force his way in, stop him. Otherwise, you've all seen what this king can do. What? Although they had thought of many possibilities, the Suicide Squad did not expect that His Highness Ji-hyun of Silla would want to deal with Ling Shao, the new lord of the 8 Immortal City. Why was this happening? Was Ling Shao so powerful that even Ji-hyun of Silla was afraid of him? Your Highness, there is something I don't understand. Could it be that the Lord has done something wrong? There was an old man in the Suicide Squad who had seen Ling Shao deal with the henchmen of the Shadow Devil sect. His granddaughter was captured by the Shadow Devil sect and was rescued at that time. Therefore, he could not bear to deal with Ling Shao. Ling Shao has offended me. Isn't that enough? Chun Kanglin's eyes flashed with a trace of ruthlessness. Suddenly, he pointed his right index finger. A pitch-black bolt of lightning broke through the air and directly penetrated the old man's forehead. Listen up. Whoever dares to talk nonsense will end up like this old man. I am not begging you. This is an order. Chun Kanglin's overbearing ruthlessness was not inferior to Chun Songxiong's at all. However, he was more cunning and often did not take action himself. This time, if it weren't for Yu Fenghua making him lose his mind, he wouldn't have acted rashly. First, he crippled the 8th prince and then killed people here. When the Suicide Squad saw that the old man was killed, they were furious but did not dare to say anything. Ji-hyun of Silla was too powerful and they could not afford to provoke him. Well, don't be too afraid. If you are obedient, I will reward you after this matter is over. If you dare to go against my will, then don't blame me for being ruthless." Chun Kanglin glanced coldly at these ants, turned around, crossed the void, and returned to the top of the city wall. The nearly 900,000 dare-to-die soldiers were also hostages, and they were the first hostages. If Ling Xiao wanted to break into the 8 immortal city, he would first have to kill all of them. He wanted to see if Ling would do that. What should we do? Are we really the Lord? He is a hero of Silla, Lord of Silla? What else can we do? You've all seen what King Zhixian is capable of. He didn't even blink when he killed. That's true. We're in a dilemma now. Alas, this is the fate of the people at the bottom. If we deal with the Lord, we will die. If we don't, we will still die. Hateful. I think Ling Yan is right. Anyway, we will die anyway. It is better to fight Jihyun of Silla. Fight? Can Ling Xiao be compared with Jihyun of Silla? It is better to be obedient. This is our fate. In the Suicide Squad, there was a lot of discussion. Obviously, their opinions were not unified. Some worshipped Ling Xiao and did not want to deal with Ling Xiao. Some were afraid of Jihyun of Silla and felt that they could only fight. Some were sad and desperate, knowing that no matter what choice they made, they would not be able to escape death. For pitiful people like them, the profound world was simply too cruel. Once again, it clearly showed what it meant to be the survival of the fittest and what it meant to respect martial prowess. Suddenly, a terrifying aura came from the distance. 5 figures appeared on the road leading to the 8 immortal city. They are here. The Suicide Squad knew that Ling Xiao was back. Jihyun of Silla and Chun Kanglin also knew that Ling Xiao was back. Your Highness, Min is back. Just a moment before Ling Xiao arrived at the 8 immortal city, Hong Min also arrived. At this moment, Hong Min was wearing a red dress. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that it was a Dharma treasure. Moreover, it was a divine-grade spiritual artifact. Behind her, there was a red tail that was 4 to 5 meters long, exposed to the air. Min Ayu. Chun Kanglin looked at the woman in front of him in surprise. Compared to before, Hong Min, Ai's strength had increased significantly. Your Highness, there is a Tushan clan in Green Hill. My original name was Tushan Min, and I came from outside the Black Tortoise mainland. My original form is a 9-tailed red fox. I was fated to meet your Highness in your previous life. In this life, I am here to continue our relationship. It is a pity that your Highness has never thought of me as a woman. Hong Min explained her identity faintly. There was a tinge of sadness in her voice. There is a beast in Tushan of Green Hill. It looks like a fox with 9 tails and sounds like a baby. It can eat humans, but it is not a goo. You are the fox demon that eats humans, right? Disgust appeared on Chun Kanglin's face. He looked coldly at Tushan Min, and said, Do you think that as a prince of the Chun kingdom, I would associate myself with a fox demon like you? Don't joke about our previous life. A previous life is a previous life. I don't remember it anymore. Obviously, the previous life that Tushan Min mentioned was not the previous life that she had reincarnated into, but the reincarnation. Therefore, her memory did not exist. Tushan Min felt her heart ache. She had returned to her original form and told the truth only because she wanted to help Qin Kanglin fight Yu Fenghua to the death. She knew that Yu Fenghua was Chun Kanglin's greatest enemy. Only by stopping Yu Fenghua could Chun Kanglin complete his plan. Of course, she also had another idea, which was to prove that she was stronger than Yu Fenghua. In that case, perhaps Chun Kanglin would never forget her. Unfortunately, Chun Kanglin was indifferent to her. Min, although I hate fox demons, you have been with me for a long time. If we don't talk about our previous lives, we can still fight together. A cunning look flashed across Chun Kanglin's eyes. Perhaps because he felt Tushan Min's strength, he had some other plans in mind. It would be good to keep such a powerful fox demon by his side. If he really couldn't get you Feng Hua, to Shan Min, would be a better substitute. Really, your highness? To Shan Min, looked at her lover in her previous life with infatuation. Although Chun Kanglin had lost his memories of his previous life, she still had them. She still remembered their old relationship and was absolutely unwilling to believe that Chun Kanglin would be heartless to her. Of course. Look over there. Ling Xiao and the others have arrived. You will follow my arrangements later. Chun Kanglin was very satisfied with Tishan Min, Uri's performance. He sneered secretly. Although it was impossible for him to fall in love with a fox demon, it was still very good to use her as a sharp weapon. Chun Kanglin, what the hell are you doing? Ling Xiao's voice came from afar. His voice was so loud that the entire 8 Immortal City could hear it clearly. At the same time, somewhere in the dark underground, Chapter 2651. When Haim Myung-keo heard the voice, she revealed a gratified smile and began to give orders. Everyone is imprisoned here. We must rescue them before His Majesty the Sky Emperor finishes his battle with Chun Kanglin. Yes, move! Hundreds of figures quietly began their secret operation. Before leaving the 8 Immortal City, Ling Xiao had considered that if he fell out with Ji Hyun of Silla, there might be forces in the 8 Immortal City that would rebel. Therefore, he did not disclose the identity of Haim Myung-keo and the others, and he did not even tell his own people. This was an absolutely mysterious force, and they would become Ji Hyun of Silla's, Chun Kanglin's miscalculation. Ling Xiao, this king will not talk to you. Now, I only want to ask Feng Hua one question. Are you willing to become this king's woman? Chun Kanglin did not care about anything else. He had made such a big fuss because he wanted Ling Xiao to submit and make Yu Feng Hua his woman. He could see that Yu Feng Hua cared a lot about Ling Xiao. As long as he could threaten Ling Xiao, he could threaten Yu Feng Hua. Bullsh *T. She is my woman, Ling Xiao's woman in this life. In the next life, she will be my woman for 10 lifetimes. Who do you think you are? Before Yu Feng Hua could say anything, Ling Xiao had already started to scold her. To him, the Moon Maiden was the woman he had set his mind on. No one could take her away from him. However, to his surprise, Yu Feng Hua did not refute his words. Instead, she remained silent. Could it be that she has recovered a part of her memory? Ling Xiao thought for a moment, then immediately rejected the idea. The possibility of her memory being restored through reincarnation was too small. Who cares? As long as Yu Feng Hua did not refute it, it was fine. Your woman? How can you compare to this king? Your cultivation? Your family background? Or is it your bloodline? What a joke! You can't compare to this prince in any aspect. Yet you shamelessly boast about possessing such a perfect woman. Don't you feel ashamed? Chun Kanglin sneered. He's not as good as you, but I like him. So what? Yu Feng Hua suddenly spoke. This cold voice resounded throughout the entire space. The kamikaze army outside the 8 Immortal City heard it, and all the warriors in the city heard it. This is so embarrassing. Chun Kanglin from Ji Hyun of Silla actually lost to Ling Xiao in the competition for a woman? Yeah, it's too surprising. Ling Xiao is just a country bumpkin from Yuhua Town. That woman actually chose him. Hee, I'm afraid this is the so-called true love people were discussing in private. Although their opinions might not be the same, most of them regarded Ji Hyun of Silla as a joke. This was really too embarrassing. Chun Kanglin was still fantasizing that he could move Yu Feng Hua. But when he heard Yu Feng Hua's words, he suddenly felt that he was really too naive. Trying to make her fall in love with him was simply an extremely stupid thing to do. He might as well force himself on her. Anyway, he was not a good person. Thinking of this, he took a deep breath, then looked coldly at Yu Feng Hua and said, You like Ling Xiao? Then it's even easier. Now, there are only 2 paths in front of you. 1, take the initiative to follow me, become my woman, and become the princess consort of the Chun Kingdom. The other, follow me passively. However, In order to take revenge on you for not taking the initiative, I will let Ling Xiao die in front of you, so that you will feel guilty and regretful forever." Chen Kanglin completely tore off his mask of hypocrisy, becoming ferocious as he bared his fangs and brandished his claws. Since he could not conquer her with true feelings, he directly used violent means. In fact, Chen Kanglin had always been such a person, but he was more hypocritical than the 14th prince, Qin Songxiong. "Can you kill me?" Ling Xiao looked coldly at Qin Kanglin. His body had completely entered the purple lightning bull beast soul transformation. Terrifying lightning fell from the sky and roared around his body, as if venting his dissatisfaction and murderous intent. "Hee, this prince knows that you are talented, and I have seen how you dealt with the Bo Yi family. So, do you think that this prince does not have a foolproof plan?" Chen Kanglin sneered and said, "In front of you there are nearly 900,000 warriors, which is basically 50% of the warriors in the 8 Immortals City. Do you have the guts to kill them? If you can't kill them, don't think of fighting with this prince. Oh, right, there are also those relatives and friends that you are worried about. I have locked them up very well. You don't believe me? I can't show you the others for the time being, but I can show you this guy." Ling Yan was lifted up by 2 giant sweats. At this time he was very weak, and half of his body had grown golden feathers, which was very strange. However, because he was tied up by a special rope, he could no longer use his internal force, so the transformation stopped. But the weakness did not stop. "Ling Yan, my good brother." Seeing Ling Yan, Ling Xiao knew why Chen Kanglin rushed to the 8 Immortal City before him. This bastard actually wanted to use the 8 Immortal City to threaten him. "Chen Kanglin, you dare to hurt my brother. I will definitely kill you, and you will die without a burial place." It was as if a terrifying demon had emerged from Ling Xiao's body. The terrifying lightning had turned completely blood red. A powerful aura roared in the void. "Ayaya, it's so scary, but so what? There are 900,000 warriors between you and him. Can you save him?" Chen Kanglin looked at Ling Xiao with disdain and said, "You are brothers. Why don't you choose to compromise? As long as you are willing to commit suicide, then I will release him and all the people in the 8 Immortal City. How about it?" "Ling Xiao, don't listen to him. This guy is hypocritical and cunning. Even if you die, he will not do that." Lin Ruoxian hurriedly said, "Don't worry, I am not stupid." Ling Xiao nodded, but there was still a big problem in front of him. That was Ling Yan. If he did not agree to Chen Kanglin's request, Ling Yan would definitely die. Chen Kanglin would definitely not make irresponsible remarks and speak nonsense. If he wanted to kill someone, he would definitely kill and would not show mercy. As for those who were imprisoned in the 8 Immortal City, he was not worried. Those people would definitely be rescued, and his previous arrangements were not in vain. "Boss, don't worry about me. I will not let this guy threaten you." Just as Ling Xiao was hesitating on what to do, Ling Yan suddenly let out a loud shout. His entire body released a terrifying black light that caused people to panic. "Oh no, he is going to self-destruct." Shanmin shouted. "Self-destruct? Impossible. This guy's meridians have been sealed by me, and he can't even use his internal strength. How can he self-destruct?" Chen Kanglin thought that he had a perfect plan, but he was indeed very cautious and even considered the possibility of Ling Yan self-destructing. However, there was still an accident. "Chen Kanglin, Dog Prince, die with me, ha ha ha." Chapter 2652. Ling Yan self-destructed. A terrifying light enveloped the entire city tower. "Don't!" Ling Xiao shouted as he leaped into the air and rushed toward the city tower. The 900,000 suicide troops didn't stop him. How could they react in time? Ling Xiao was too fast. He crossed thousands of meters in an instant and arrived near the city tower. Boom! A terrifying explosion was heard. Ling Xiao stood in midair in a daze. Scenes of him getting to know Ling Yan, becoming friends, and eventually becoming brothers flashed in his mind. Was he really going to die just like that? When the smoke finally dissipated, Ling Xiao's figure flashed and smashed into the city tower like a cannonball. Even if Ling Yan was really dead, he still had to collect Ling Yan's corpse. Even if the corpse was already in pieces, he couldn't let his good brother be buried in peace. He saw a golden egg. Using his Taiji eye, he saw that it contained Ling Yan's spirit aura. Ling Xiao couldn't help but be overjoyed. He knew that even if he lost his physical body, there was a possibility of resurrection as long as his spirit was still alive. His master, the Yuan Venerate, was like that. However, a Yuan Venerate was a little too strong, so it was naturally very difficult to recover. The recovery of a divine scripture was much easier than that of a Yuan Venerate. It was probably the same for Ling Yan. He wasn't the only one who had discovered the golden egg. Chun Kanglin, who was covered in dirt from Ling Yan's self-destruction, had also discovered it. Although he wasn't injured, his arrogant and refined image had been completely destroyed. He was very angry. "Destroy that egg for me," he ordered angrily. 7 or 8 martialists rushed forward in an attempt to destroy the golden egg. However, at that moment, Ling Xiao descended from the sky in the form of a huge purple lightning thunderbolt. He stood there like a terrifying lightning demon. Terrifying red lightning was released from his body. The 7 or 8 martialists were instantly sent flying by the red lightning and fell heavily below the city tower. Ling Xiao was now facing Chun Kanglin. He bent down to look at this person. Before this, he did not have the heart to kill Chun Kanglin. However, Chun Kanglin was already on his death list. Moreover, he was someone who was bound to die. No one could bully his brother like this. No, since he had done it, he had to pay the price, no matter if he was a prince or a king. Ling Xiao placed the golden egg into the mountain river world to protect it. Then the huge demonic hand pointed at Chun Kanglin and said, "I didn't intend to kill you, but what you did forced yourself into a dead end. Today, I will tell you what the price of forcing my brother to die and harming my territory is." That strong killing intent made even Ji Hyun of Silla and Chun Kanglin tremble in fear for a moment. In fact, if Tu Shanmin had not risked her life to protect him, he would have been seriously injured by Ling Yan's self-explosion. This time, in the face of Ling Xiao's murderous intent, it was still Tu Shanmin who protected him. If it were another man, with such a good woman protecting him, he would at least be a little tempted. However, Chun Kanglin was not. In his eyes, Tu Shanmin was just a fox demon, which did not match his identity. He only regarded Tu Shanmin as a tool. The 900,000 dare-to-die soldiers were looking forward to the battle. They did not know who would be the final winner of this battle. Of course, they hoped that Ling Xiao would win. Ji Hyun of Silla was not a good person. If he won, they did not know what would happen to them. Therefore, today they could only harden their hearts and become counselors on Ling Xiao's pirate ship. In the 8 Immortals County, there were a large number of traders who had surrendered to Ji Hyun of Silla on the city tower. Ling Xiao glanced at these people and said coldly, "I gave you a chance, but you did not cherish it. Instead, you colluded with Chun Kanglin to kill me. If I don't die today, I will definitely take your lives." Panic began to spread among the crowd. These people had experienced Ling Xiao's means. They did not want to be targeted by Ling Xiao. "What are you afraid of? Ling Xiao has nothing to be afraid of." Chun Changsheng, the former leader of the Tianfeng group, shouted, "Don't forget, we have the powerful Ji Hyun of Silla behind us. Ling Xiao must die." Yes, no matter how talented Ling Xiao is, he can't be a match for Ji Hyun of Silla. Moreover, Ji Hyun of Silla has Tu Shanmin, who is even more powerful and terrifying. As Chun Changsheng's voice sounded, the panic stopped. "Ling Xiao, aren't you afraid that I will kill your family and friends in the 8 Immortals County?" Chun Kanglin looked at Ling Xiao and frowned. "Are you afraid?" Ling Xiao knew that he had to buy time for Haim, Mian-ko, and the others to save people. Therefore, he wanted to delay as long as he could. "Afraid? Ha 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 ha. I, Chun Kanglin, have never been afraid of anyone since I was born. Since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. I will also let Miss Fanghua see how a piece of trash like you can be defeated and trampled on by me. Chen Kanglin was, after all, a person with dignity. Moreover, because of Yu Fanghua, his intelligence was obviously not online. He was easily provoked by Ling Xiao and instantly fell for it. Min, go and hold off Yu Fanghua. Don't hurt her. I will quickly get rid of this Ling Xiao. Chen Kanglin of Jihyun of Silla had seen Ling Xiao's battle, so he was absolutely confident that he could kill Ling Xiao. His cultivation was not very strong, but he was at the peak of level 10 of Hell in Yinyang Realm. How could Ling Xiao, who was at the early stage of level 10 of Hell in Yinyang Realm, compare with him? If he could kill the 8th prince in one move, he could also kill Ling Xiao in one move. Therefore, although he was not sure how long Tu Shanmin could hold off Yu Fanghua, he was sure that he could definitely kill Ling Xiao in a short time. That was enough. Fanghua, that woman, please. Tu Shanmin was too strong. Ling Xiao knew that he could not defeat her. However, facing Chen Kanglin, Ling Xiao was fearless. Although there was a large gap between their cultivation, they were both at level 10 of Hell. Therefore, the outcome of this battle was unpredictable. Ling Xiao did not dare to say that he would definitely win, and Chen Kanglin did not dare to say the same. No problem. Do you want to kill her? Yu Fanghua asked. No need. She is a pitiful woman. Just hold her off. But if she wants to hurt you, don't show mercy. I don't want you to get hurt, understand? Ling Xiao said. I understand. Yu Fanghua nodded. He did not want her to get hurt. Since her parents died, she had not heard such caring words for a long time. In fact, Ling Xiao was not worried about Yu Fanghua at all. Ling Xiao had seen Yu Fanghua's strength with his own eyes. She could easily kill Bo Yi Chen's younger brother. Her strength was absolutely formidable. What Ling Xiao needed to do now was to kill Chen Kanglin. Chapter 2653. The two women had already started fighting. However, the battle was not as intense as expected. Both men's request was to stall the other. In addition, they were both concerned about the men they liked. Hence, this battle was a waste of time. At least, that was what it looked like now. On the other hand, Ling Xiao and Chen Kanglin's auras were rising rapidly. Chen Kanglin's aura was at the peak of the 10th level of Hell in Yinyang Realm. His terrifying aura clearly had the upper hand. Although Ling Xiao's aura was strong, it was at most at the late stage of the 10th level of Hell in Yinyang Realm. His cultivation was only at the early stage, but his aura was at the late stage. This meant that his inner strength was much stronger than others. Although he was stronger than Ling Xiao, Chen Kanglin was still unhappy. Once upon a time, he had met Ling Xiao for the first time in the 8 Immortal City. At that time, Ling Xiao was a genius, but in terms of strength, he was just an ant that Chen Kanglin disdained to deal with. He believed that he could stomp this guy to death with a casual step. However, in just a month, Ling Xiao's cultivation had increased to such a level. He had reached a level where he could confront Chen Kanglin. This made Chen Kanglin very unhappy, but also somewhat fearful. He began to regret his decision back then. He should have killed Ling Xiao a long time ago instead of thinking about using him. It was impossible for such a person to be used by others. Suddenly, he felt somewhat fortunate that this battle between them had come early. At the very least, he still had the confidence to kill Ling Xiao. If he gave this guy more time, he would not be able to fight with him anymore. What a terrifying monster! I have to admit that you are really too strong. Your talent even surpasses my 14th brother, Chen Sangxiong. If you were willing to be loyal to me, we could rule the Chen kingdom together. But now it's a pity that I won't let you live. Chen Kanglin said coldly. I don't care about this small Qin kingdom. You were fighting for your throne, and I was living my life. Although we could not be friends, we might not be enemies. Unfortunately, not only did you covet my woman, you even killed my good brother. Today, it's not you who wants me dead, but me who wants you dead. Ling Xiao didn't waste any more time. The male and female 8 immortal swords appeared in his hands at the same time. He took a deep breath, and his figure flashed as he charged towards Qin Kanglin. After all, they were still in the Qin nation's territory. If they could not end this battle quickly and Thunder's reinforcements arrived, things would not be good. I didn't expect you to have 2 divine-grade spiritual weapons. But do you think having more weapons is enough? This sword of mine is enough to deal with you. Qin Kanglin also used a sword. His sword was actually a very strange-looking sword of lightning. The entire body of the sword was like a bolt of lightning, and it had a strange black color. From the body of the sword, there was a terrifying aura that made people tremble in fear. When it comes to swords, you are not as good as me. When it comes to lightning, you are also not as good as me. What makes you think you can win against me? Qin Kanglin of Jihyun of Silla stood proudly with the black lightning devil sword in his hand. He looked coldly at Ling Xiao like an arrogant demon god. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, was merely the weakest challenger he had encountered. Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death stood there. They couldn't do anything but pray for Ling Xiao secretly. Sister Ruoxian, we can't help at all. I can't accept this. Moon Death bit her lips. Lin Ruoxian could clearly feel her unwillingness. Me too. Prepare your Dharma treasures. If Ling Xiao is really in danger, we have to protect him even if we have to risk our lives. Lin Ruoxian said. Their worries were not unfounded. Ling Xiao's cultivation was not as good as Qin Kanglin's. His weapon was only on par with Qin Kanglin's. So what should he rely on to win? Martial skills? The problem was that Qin Kanglin was the prince of Qin country. How could his martial skills be weak? You must be very unwilling. Maybe you don't want to fight me so soon, but you have to fight me. Qin Kanglin continued to increase his aura while looking coldly at Ling Xiao and mocking him. He didn't intend to underestimate his opponent, but he also didn't want to overestimate Ling Xiao. Looking at the current situation, the possibility of him losing to Ling Xiao was very small. Trash, come and fight me. I'll let you see the combat power of the royal family. You'll regret it. Qin Kanglin was finally ready to attack. He raised the black lightning devil sword in his hand and aimed it at Ling Xiao. Whether you're trash or not, we'll know after the fight. Take this. Shadow martial arts, ghost dragon slaying, ghost emperor battle. Dual swords, dual techniques. Ling Xiao used dual swords from the beginning because he knew that Qin Kanglin was stronger than him. He had to take this seriously. When the moves were displayed, the ghost dragon roared and the ghost emperor roared. The entire space seemed to have become gloomy. The terrifying sword qi reached Qin Kanglin almost at the same time, tearing his body apart. It could be said that besides the immortal grade martial arts, these were the 2 most powerful moves that Ling Xiao could display at the moment. Moreover, these 2 moves used dual swords to increase their power, making them even more powerful. For a moment, the towers around Qin Kanglin began to shake. However, Qin Kanglin of Jihyun of Silla just smiled coldly, and a black lightning flashed behind him. He stabbed out with his sword. Black lightning strike, wind and cloud destruction. The black lightning shadow roared out like a black dragon and directly shattered the ghost dragon sword qi. Then it continued to move forward crazily and destroyed the ghost emperor sword qi. At this point, the black lightning was still attacking Ling Xiao crazily, as if it wasn't going to give Ling Xiao a chance to live. Bang! At the critical moment, Ling Xiao's 2 swords slashed across the air, and a shield flashing with lightning appeared in front of him. Spirit commandeering lightning shield, fire mastery. The defensive power of the first heaven of immortal grade martial arts, spirit commandeering lightning shield was not just for show. Even if Qin Kanglin was very powerful, he was still easily blocked by this move. However, Ling Xiao's expression didn't look too good. This Qin Kanglin of Jihyun of Silla's combat power was stronger than his, and his intelligence was not inferior to his. In the battle, He had almost no advantage to speak of. This was truly a difficult battle. Of course, being able to block Qin Kanglin's attack was his, Ling Zhao's, strong point. And until now, he hadn't really released his full combat power. When he fully released it, it was hard to say who was stronger and who was weaker. However, Ling Zhao didn't plan to do that. An opponent like Qin Kanglin would help him break through in his cultivation. Now, this kind of battle was very satisfying. He could feel that after the black lightning struck the spirit commandeering lightning shield, the potential in his body began to become active. This is the power of the royal family? I think it's just SOO. If this is all you have, don't think about going back alive today. Chapter 2654. In the beginning, Ling Zhao could not fully assess Qin Kanglin's combat strength. However, after the battle began, he gradually understood this person's true strength as he observed with the Tai Chi eye. Qin Kanglin was indeed stronger than him, but it did not mean that he could not fight him. Shameless boasting. You were just lucky to obtain the lightning shield. However, this is an immortal grade, first heaven martial art. I want to see how long you can maintain it with that bit of inner strength. Qin Kanglin of Jihyun of Silla snorted coldly and said disdainfully, I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. In terms of inner strength, I'm 10 times stronger than you. Ling Zhao sneered and said, You think you can covet other people's women just because you're the Qin Kingdom's prince? You think you can look down on others? Let me tell you, in my eyes, you're just a fart. You're just a prince from a tiny place. Do you really think you're that important? Aren't you afraid of being ridiculed if word gets out? How dare you insult the Qin Kingdom's royal family? You're nothing compared to me. In terms of status and strength, you're inferior to me in every aspect. Why can you have Yufeng Hua, but I can't? I'm not convinced. I must get what I want, even if I have to resort to unscrupulous means. As they fought, they mocked each other. The two of them fought from the city tower to the sky, and from the sky back to the city tower. Every time they fought, Qin Kanglin of Jihyun of Silla's expression became more and more unsightly. This was because he realized that Ling Zhao didn't show any signs of weakening during their exchange. Instead, it seemed like he was getting stronger with every exchange. At first, he thought that he was hallucinating. However, after a long time, he realized that this was definitely not a hallucination. This was the real situation. Ling Zhao was only at the early stage of the Inyan realm's 10th level of hell. However, he was able to display combat strength that was not much weaker than his. He was much stronger than his younger brother, the 8th prince. Why? Why was this so? He wanted to understand, but Ling Zhao did not give him a chance. Sword after sword clashed. Although Ling Zhao was at a disadvantage every time and looked like he was about to lose, Ling Zhao was still in a daze. But every time at the most critical moment, he was able to turn the tide and salvage the situation. This guy, not only is his combat strength not much weaker than mine, even his intelligence is not inferior to mine. Even his combat skills are far superior to mine. This Ling Zhao, what did he do in his previous life? The more he fought, the more frightened Qin Kanglin became. His attacks became more ferocious because he knew that Ling Zhao could not be allowed to live. Absolutely not. Ling Zhao, Jihyun of Silla, and Qin Kanglin were fighting on the gate tower of the city of the 8 immortals. The group of martial artists carrying the 8th prince's corpse had also already arrived at the warlord mansion. Seeing the 8th prince's body, the 14th prince's eyes shot out a vicious look. Who did it? Chun Songxiong asked. Originally, it was Jihyun of Silla who did it. He crippled the 8th prince. But on the way back, we met a group of 5 people. The 8th prince was caught off guard and was killed by them. By the way, among the 5 people, there was a woman wearing a bamboo hat. The martial artist knelt on the ground and answered in horror. A woman wearing a bamboo hat. Chun Songxiong frowned. Bo Yi, who was standing at the side, suddenly sneered. No need to ask, it's Ling Zhao. We finally found traces of this guy. He actually returned to the city of the 8 immortals. Your Highness, Please allow this old man to go to the city of the 8 immortals to kill this guy. He hated Ling Xiao to the bone. Ling Xiao killed his daughter and brother. He must skin this person alive, otherwise it would be difficult to eliminate the hatred in his heart. Allow it. Chun Sangxiong said coldly, if there is a chance, kill my second brother. Hearing this, Bo Yi could not help but shudder, but finally nodded and said, this subordinate obeys. Go. I believe that with your strength, no one in the small city of the 8 immortals can stop you. But to ensure the completion of the mission, I will assign you a team of elite Eagle Army. All of them are martial artists of the 9th level of Hell. A total of 100 people, if possible. Take down the city of the 8 immortals. Chun Sangxiong did not plan to go to the city of the 8 immortals because he did not want to be enemies with Qin Kanglin. After all, they were brothers. If the king mentioned it, it would be troublesome. Secondly, it was disdain. Bo Yi alone could easily take down the city of the 8 immortals. Why should he get involved in this matter? The battle in the city of the 8 immortals continued. Qin Kanglin knew that he must use his killer move. Otherwise, it would be impossible to defeat Ling Xiao. Your strongest martial skill is the Heavenly Thunder Divine Guard that you obtained from the Ox God Maze. Unfortunately, that is a second heaven immortal grade martial skill. With your current cultivation, it is impossible to cultivate it successfully. By the way, let me tell you something interesting. In the past, the Heavenly Thunder family of Thunder City had a martial skill that was slightly weaker than the Heavenly Thunder Divine Guard, called Heavenly Thunder Clone. Although the Heavenly Thunder Clone is weak, because it is only a first heaven immortal grade martial skill, it is easier to cultivate, and I have already cultivated it to the great completion stage. While speaking, Chun Kanglin of Jihyun of Scylla's body emitted pitch-black lightning. Then 100 clones that were completely made up of black lightning appeared around him. They looked exactly the same as Jihyun of Scylla, but the aura on their bodies was obviously much weaker, about 30% of Jihyun of Scylla's strength. However, the problem was that there were many of them, and they were formed by black lightning. Once they swarmed up, it was not easy to deal with them. There were more than 1 or 2 examples of ants biting an elephant to death. 100 Heavenly Thunder clones almost filled the city tower, completely surrounding Ling Xiao. Ha 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 ha, Ling Xiao, now you know fear. You have no chance to fight with me. The reason why I did not forcibly take the Lightning Shield and Heavenly Thunder Divine Guard from you was that I have a more suitable martial skill than you. Go to hell, trash. Qin Kanglin laughed crazily. The Dare to Die army in the distance revealed looks of worry and fear. Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death had already taken out their magic weapons, wanting to help. However, the 100 Heavenly Thunder clones had completely surrounded Ling Xiao. It was impossible for them to help even if they wanted to. Chun Chongqing and the other traitors sneered. They were looking forward to Ling Xiao's death. Only when Ling Xiao was dead could they make fun of the humiliation they had suffered. The Heavenly Thunder clone turned into a black devil and pounced on Ling Xiao. He did not believe that Ling Xiao could cultivate the Heavenly Thunder Divine Guard because he had never heard of a first transformation yin-yang realm martial artist who was at level 10 of Hell being able to cultivate a second heaven immortal grade martial skill. If it was impossible for him, how could Ling Xiao do it? However, a mocking smile appeared on Ling Xiao's face. Do you think that I can't cultivate something that a piece of trash like you can't cultivate? I'll show you how laughable your clones are in front of the Heavenly Thunder Divine Guard. Release, Heavenly Thunder Divine Guard. Great success. As Ling Xiao's voice sounded. Chapter 2655. Although the number of Heavenly Thunder Divine Guards could not be compared to Chun Kanglin's doppelgangers, the 4 Heavenly Thunder Divine Guards possessed 70% of Ling Xiao's strength. It was like a confrontation between a giant elephant and a rabbit. When he was in the Royal Mystery Realm, Ling Xiao tried to cultivate it. Later, after integrating the life essence, it was upgraded to the Profound Realm. It was one of his secret weapons. because it was a second heaven immortal grade martial skill. He could suppress Chun Kanglin in terms of martial skill. In this way, even if he did not break through in the battle, he would not be defeated. This was one of the reasons why he dared to challenge Chun Kanglin one-on-one. No matter how many there are, trash is trash. You think I can't cultivate the Heavenly Thunder Divine Guards, but I will show you. Are you surprised? Looking at Chun Kanglin's shocked expression, Ling Xiao sneered and waved his hand. The 4 Heavenly Thunder Divine Guards rushed out and killed the hundreds of Heavenly Thunder doppelgangers. Previously, the 8th Prince only brought 1,000 experts, but they could crush the millions of Daredevil army. Now, Ling Xiao's 4 Heavenly Thunder Divine Guards could also crush the 100 Heavenly Thunder doppelgangers. Seeing the Heavenly Thunder Divine Guards rushing towards them, Chun Kanglin of Jihyun of Scylla's face turned pale. This was something that he had never expected. Ling Xiao was actually able to cultivate the Heavenly Thunder Divine Guard that no one else could. One should know that even a martial artist at the first transformation level 11 hell could not cultivate a second heaven immortal grade martial skill. Even if it was a first heaven immortal grade martial skill, it required a very talented genius to cultivate. What kind of monster was Ling Xiao? He boasted in front of everyone in the 8 Immortal City that he would humiliate Ling Xiao. However, now, not only was he unable to defeat Ling Xiao, but he was also being pressured by Ling Xiao. This made him lose face as a member of the royal family. Damn you, Ling Xiao! Since the day I was born, I have been a prodigy. No one has ever dared to treat me like this. Even my extremely talented 14th brother wouldn't dare to face me head-on. How dare you do this? I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. At this moment, Jihyun of Scylla, Chun Kanglin's hair was disheveled and he looked like a lunatic. Facing Ling Xiao's 4 Heavenly Thunder Guards, he could only control 100 Heavenly Thunder clones to fight. However, as soon as they came into contact, the Heavenly Thunder doppelganger was easily destroyed. Ling Xiao's Heavenly Thunder Guards were too special. Not only were their martial skills of a higher level, but they had also integrated the power of Ling Xiao's top Thunderbolt battle body. As a result, his battle prowess was even more powerful. The Heavenly Thunder Divine Guards were even more valiant when they heard the war song in the sky all of a sudden. On the other hand, the Heavenly Thunder doppelganger had become much weaker. In terms of omnipotence, there was probably no one in the world who could compare with Ling Xiao. In an instant, the situation of the battle was reversed. Ling Xiao began to gain the upper hand. Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death, who were originally worried, were extremely shocked. They thought that after Jihyun of Scylla used the Heavenly Thunder doppelganger, Ling Xiao's life would be in danger, so they wanted to help. But now it seemed that there was no need at all. The nearly 900,000 dare-to-die soldiers were even more shocked. Chun Kanglin of Jihyun of Scylla had previously crippled the 8th Prince with one palm. They had almost regarded Chun Kanglin as a godlike existence. They did not dare to resist at all. But now, this godlike existence was actually suppressed by Ling Xiao. What kind of situation was this? Yu Fenghua was fighting with Tishan Min, or while looking over. A smile appeared on his face, which was covered by the bamboo hat. She was also a little surprised. Ling Xiao could always surprise people. If this was her lover in her previous life, then she hoped that they could really be together in this life. However, she suddenly became sad again. After all, she was from the Palace of Eternal Life. Could Ling Xiao be recognized by the Palace of Eternal Life? The Palace of Eternal Life was not Chun Kanglin, nor was it the royal family of the Chun Kingdom. It was truly a top existence in the Black Tortoise Continent. She had just fallen in love with someone. Couldn't they be together? Just as Yu Fenghua was feeling confused, the Heavenly Thunder doppelganger was exploding one by one. Terrifying lightning kept flashing around. Many people could not see the situation on the battlefield clearly. No, I won't lose. I definitely won't lose. In the roar, Jihyun of Silla actually burst out with an even more powerful force. His heavenly thunder doppelganger was suddenly promoted at this moment. It had reached the great perfection. The original 100 heavenly thunder doppelganger instantly increased to 1,000. If there were only 100 of them, they would not be a threat to the heavenly thunder guards. But if there were 1,000 of them, the situation would be different. Enough ants could kill an elephant. When there were enough of them, even the weak ones would be very terrifying. Ha ha ha, Ling Xiao, you're dead. I still have to thank you. If it weren't for you, my heavenly thunder doppelganger would not have broken through. The counterattack began. The heavenly thunder doppelganger, under the control of Jihyun of Silla, pounced on the 4 heavenly thunder guards like ants. Even though the heavenly thunder guards were very strong, they were still outnumbered. After one was destroyed, the second one was destroyed. The fewer the number, the higher the chance of being destroyed. Although they had killed many heavenly thunder doppelganger before they were destroyed, but it was still an irreversible defeat. Finally, the 4 heavenly thunder guards were all destroyed, and Jihyun of Silla Chin Kanglin's heavenly thunder doppelganger also lost nearly 500, but there were still 500 left, which could still pose a huge threat to Ling Xiao. All 500 heavenly thunder doppelganger rushed toward Ling Xiao. Everyone thought that this time Ling Xiao was really finished. Without the heavenly thunder guards, what could Ling Xiao use to fight with Jihyun of Silla Chin Kanglin? However, Ling Xiao's face did not show the slightest fear. He just looked at his opponent indifferently. Do you think you can kill me with these heavenly thunder doppelganger? He took a deep breath, and the huge purple lightning thunder bull avatar stomped on the ground. At that moment, the whole tower began to shake. Purple lightning thunder bull, earthquake. This kind of large-scale skill made those heavenly thunder doppelganger unable to maintain their posture at all. Suddenly, they were all in a mess. Taking advantage of this opportunity, a terrifying phantom of a giant beast appeared behind Ling Xiao. In the face of Chen Kanglin, some things must be exposed or must be exposed. The star-swallowing titanic beast Tao Ye's figure appeared, and then it opened its huge mouth and sucked in the 500 heavenly thunder doppelganger. You are really crazy. You dare to swallow my black thunder. You are simply courting death. Chin Kanglin of Jihyun of Silla Chin Kanglin did not panic at all. He was the only one who knew how terrifying his black lightning was. Whoever dared to swallow it was definitely courting death. Is that so? That may not be so. The Sky Tyrant martial spirit could integrate everything. So what if it was a black thunder? The situation that Chen Kanglin imagined did not happen. Instead, the aura in Ling Xiao's body was rapidly rising. He was already about to break through, now that he had absorbed the power of these 500 heavenly thunder doppelganger. The obstacle to breaking through completely disappeared. Chapter 2656. With a loud bang, Ling Xiao's aura increased tenfold. His cultivation also broke through from the early stage of level 10 of Hell to the middle stage of level 10 of Hell. Although it was only a small breakthrough, it was a great improvement for Ling Xiao. In terms of combat strength, he was not inferior to Chin Kanglin. This battle could finally come to an end. You just thanked me for leveling up your Sky Thunder avatar. I also want to thank you. If not for your Sky Thunder avatars leveling up and releasing so many avatars, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to break through my cultivation. Ling Xiao's words were full of sarcasm. At this moment, Chen Kanglin had no advantage in front of him. He was fearless. Come on, I won't play any tricks. I'm going to crush you with my strength. Otherwise, you won't be convinced after you lose. Ling Xiao sneered. The male and female 8 immortal swords in his hands began to gather a terrifying light. He was going to use his most powerful sword technique. You just broke through to the middle stage of level 10 of Hell and you want to kill me? You're daydreaming. You haven't seen anything more terrifying yet. Black Thunder, listen to me. Thunder Demon Avatar. The black thunder merged into Chun Kanglin's body of Ji-hyun of Silla. At that moment, Chun Kanglin's body completely elementalized. He turned into a demon made of thunder and lightning. His body grew bigger, and his aura became more powerful. A few of his subordinates couldn't dodge in time and were hit by the scattered black thunder and died on the spot. You think you can defeat me just because you've broken through your cultivation? That's just your illusion. I've acknowledged your strength. Now, I'll use my strongest attack to send you to the afterlife. Although King Ji-hyen, Chun Kanglin, transformed into a thunder devil, his combat power was still incomparable to a yin-yang realm expert at the 11th level of hell. He was definitely much stronger than an ordinary expert at the peak of the 10th level of hell. Is that so? Then let's try. Facing lightning devil Chun Kanglin, Ling Xiao was not afraid at all. Instead, he was filled with excitement. Having just made a breakthrough in his cultivation, he really wanted to have such a strong opponent to be his touchstone. Behind him, the pitch-black universe descended. The sky tyrant martial spirit had arrived. This was his martial soul and the strongest martial soul in the profound world. Facing the powerful Ji-hyun of Silla, he did not intend to hold back. You're not the only one with a martial spirit. I have one too. As Ling Xiao released the sky tyrant martial spirit, the power of the 8 immortal swords in his hands became even more vigorous. At that moment, lightning devil Chun Kanglin actually felt fear in his heart. This was intolerable to him. He could only roar and charge over. Thunder devil's wrath, black lightning 9 swords. The terrifying black thunder demonic sword released 9 consecutive beams of sword light, which fell like a black thunder tribulation and blasted towards Ling Xiao. There were no tricks or tricks. It was truly a clash of the extremes of strength. You're really sad that you can't see the difference in strength. However, I admit that you're strong. It's a pity that you've become my enemy. You killed my brother, so you must die. Shadow Martial Arts, Immortal Grade, First Heaven Martial Skill, Shadow Sword Demon. Proficient in fire control. After using this move many times to kill his enemies, Ling Xiao's mastery of this move had increased. At the same time, the power naturally became more powerful. Coupled with the Sky Tyrant martial soul, this Shadow Sword Demon was simply unbelievably powerful. In the boundless pitch-black universe, a black, long sword stretched out. Then, a demon stepped out from the void and merged with Ling Xiao's sword light, charging towards lightning devil Chun Kanglin. Ling Xiao had been hiding this move because it was currently his strongest move. This was Ling Xiao's most powerful move. It was also the so-called killer move. Since it was a killer move, it must be used at the most critical moment so that the enemy would not be able to guard against it. It was obvious that Chun Kanglin was very surprised. At that moment, he seemed to see Ling Xiao's sword shadows everywhere. Terrifying demonic creatures roared in the boundless void. What the onlookers saw was a huge, illusory black shadow, emitting a terrifying aura that made them unable to breathe as it charged towards Chun Kanglin. Chun Kanglin knew that he could not resist this move. He wanted to escape. However, in the face of such a terrifying attack, he did not even have the chance to escape. Between heaven and earth, it was as though Ling Xiao's sword aura was everywhere. He was completely surrounded. The only thing he could do was to fight to the end. Stop, Ling Xiao. Don't you think about your friends and family? If you dare to hurt me, they're dead. At the critical moment, Chun Kanglin roared. This was his last trump card. Since he could not be compared to Ling Xiao in terms of strength, he would use the hostage to threaten Ling Xiao so that Ling Xiao would not attack. He believed that Ling Xiao's move would consume a terrifying amount of inner strength. If he failed, the advantage would shift to his side. Idiot, are you talking about them? As Ling Xiao attacked, he looked at the empty space below the city tower. Ji-hyun of Silla, Chun Kanglin looked back in shock, only to find that all the people he had imprisoned were standing there. Those who belonged to him had all been killed. Their bodies were thrown on the ground, their eyes filled with fear and regret. No, this is impossible. How did you do it? Chen Kanglin thought that he was more intelligent than others. But in the confrontation with Ling Xiao, he had been defeated repeatedly. Today was the worst day he had ever experienced. This defeat would cost him his life. Are you confused? Remember one thing when you go to the underworld. Don't underestimate anyone. Your enemy is not a fool. Do you know why Chen Songxiong did not kill you? It's not because you can really compete with him. It's because he needs an opponent like you to divert others' attention. You want to ask me how I know? Of course, he told me. Of course, Ling Xiao was just talking nonsense. He wanted Chen Kanglin to die in endless regret. Only then could he dispel the hatred in his heart. However, this casual speculation startled an ordinary-looking cultivator in the crowd. This was because he was a spy sent to the 8 Immortal City by the 14th Prince. He was also one of the 14th Prince's most trusted subordinates. The 14th Prince had once said such a thing casually. Of course he knew. In the eyes of the 14th Prince, Chen Songxiong, this second Prince Chen Kanglin was not worth mentioning at all. No matter how smart he was, in the face of absolute strength, it was rubbish. Moreover, Chen Songxiong was not stupid. Die in pain. Ling Xiao's sword finally touched Chen Kanglin's thunder demon incarnation. At that moment, Tushan Min, who was fighting with Yu Fenghua, became anxious. She rushed over frantically, trying to stop Ling Xiao from killing Chen Kanglin. However, with Yu Fenghua around, how could she succeed? Chapter 26:57. Ling Xiao had told her not to hurt Tushan Min, and Yu Fenghua did as she was told. After all, she was just a pitiful woman. In this moment of delay, Ling Xiao's sword qi destroyed Chen Kanglin's thunder demon incarnation. At that moment, Chen Kanglin of Jihyun of Scylla's body was covered in terrifying wounds caused by the sword qi. Blood sprayed all over the ground, and his internal organs were minced. If not for the fact that he was a rank 1 Yin-Yang Realm level 10 Hell cultivator, he would have died by now. After putting away the 8 immortal swords, Ling Xiao looked at Chen Kanglin coldly. He had to admit that this person was indeed a formidable person. But because of Yu Fenghua, he did something stupid. And this stupid thing became the fuse that led to his death. At this moment, Chen Kanglin's eyes were filled with regret, disbelief, annoyance, despair, and other complex emotions. At the last moment of his life, he realized how stupid he had been. I, Ling Xiao, would never casually provoke anyone. But it's best if others don't provoke me either. I'm a cruel person. If anyone wants to kill me, not only will I not let them succeed, but I'll also kill them. Do you think I don't know that you were the one who arranged for Enpa to attack me? Do you think I don't know that you were the one who ordered those 6 good-for-nothings to kill me? I didn't say it because I'm not as good as you, so I had to endure it. It's not that I don't want to take revenge. It's just that the time hasn't come yet. Now the time has come. Hearing Ling Xiao's words, Chen Kanglin of Jihyun of Scylla suddenly understood. Outsiders thought that Ling Xiao was an arrogant, domineering, and insufferably arrogant idiot. But in reality, this person's mind was so calm that it was terrifying. He knew something, but he never mentioned it, not even to his closest friends. Until he had the power to take revenge, he killed his enemies with lightning speed. What a terrifying person. This kind of person was arrogant when he should be, and patient when he should be patient. He was actually the most difficult person to deal with. I'm not satisfied. Chen Kanglin was unwilling to give up. He could have treated Ling Xiao with respect, but he chose to deal with Ling Xiao. One wrong step led to many wrong steps. In the end, he was defeated in this small 8 Immortals county. He was really unwilling to accept this. Your Highness! Just then, Tushan Min suddenly revealed her fox form. She broke free from the ice that trapped her and pounced on Chen Kanglin. She hugged Chen Kanglin in her arms, then glared at Ling Xiao with hatred, turned around, and ran away. Should we give chase? Yu Fenghua asked. There's no need. The enemies I've defeated before, no matter what methods they use, can't defeat me again. Moreover, it was impossible for Chen Kanglin to be revived. As for that Tushanmin, Fanghua, you can't kill her, can you? Ling Xiao waved his hand and said, That's true. The fox spirits of Qingqiu Tushan all have their own escape techniques. Yu Fanghua nodded honestly. I can defeat her, but it won't be easy to kill her. The two of them were having a relaxed discussion. However, the others who'd witnessed the battle weren't as calm as they were. Ling Xiao had killed Qin Kanglin of Jihyun of Silla, and the woman next to him could easily suppress that powerful fox spirit. What had this person encountered outside? What had he obtained? How had he become so strong? Ling Xiao didn't care about their shock. Although Chen Kanglin of Jihyun of Silla's body had been taken away, Ling Xiao had taken his storage ring. The prince's storage ring was truly a pleasant surprise. Not only was it much larger than Ling Xiao's storage ring, but it was also much more durable. Of course, more importantly, there were a lot of good things inside. Apart from the black lightning devil sword, which was a divine-grade spiritual weapon, there was a cultivation manual for lightning clone. There were also 100,000 mid-grade spiritual stones and 10,000 upper-grade spiritual stones. After reaching the first Revolution 10 levels of hell, each small breakthrough would consume at least 10,000 mid-grade spirit stones, and that was for ordinary martial artists. If it was Ling Xiao, it would consume 50,000 mid-grade spiritual stones. In order to break through, he'd used up all his mid-grade spiritual stones until he was left with only 100,000 mid-grade spiritual stones. It was only enough for 2 breakthroughs. Now that he'd obtained 100,000 mid-grade spiritual stones, he could maintain it for a while longer. Ling Xiao didn't feel happy about obtaining these things. He was actually most worried about Ling Yan. In order not to cause trouble for him, his good friend had chosen to self-destruct, leaving only a golden egg behind. He left the outside matters to Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death. He went to the underground palace that he'd built in secret and began to study the golden egg. Yu Fanghua stayed by his side. Ling Xiao was very grateful that the woman he loved could still be by his side when he was sad. This feeling was really good. Ling Yan's physical body has been destroyed, but I don't know what kind of special martial arts he cultivated that allowed him to seal his soul into this golden egg. Master, do you think I can help him reconstruct his physical body? Ling Xiao summoned his Yuan Venerate in front of Yu Fanghua. He didn't have any intention of avoiding Yu Fanghua, as she was the woman he loved. There was nothing to hide. His casual approach, however, made Yu Fanghua extremely touched in her heart. Ling Xiao trusted her so much, which meant that he was sincere to her. How could she not be moved? Of course, she was also very shocked. The secrets on Ling Xiao's body really came one after another, too much for the eyes to take in. Although this Yuan Venerate was only in spirit form, one thing was certain. He had definitely been an exceptional powerhouse in the past. Of course, but he has to have a matching physical body. It can't be ordinary, otherwise it will affect his future cultivation. The Yuan Venerate reminded him. I know. Actually, I've already thought about it before I came here. What do you think of my external clone, Master? Ling Xiao asked. Are you for real? Although your external clone is definitely fine, it wasn't easy for you to condense it. Do you really intend to give it up so easily? The Yuan Venerate asked. Why can't I give it up? An external clone can be condensed again, but a good brother is very difficult to obtain. To me, Ling Yan is more important than my external clone. After all, an external clone was just a puppet without thoughts. Compared to a good brother, Ling Xiao would naturally choose the latter. In that case, Master won't say much. Do as you wish. If you need any help, feel free to let me know. Master will definitely help you. The Yuan Venerate was very pleased. He felt that he hadn't misjudged Luo Yunyang. If Ling Xiao was willing to give up his external clone for his good brother, then he would definitely be able to help him reconstruct his physical body. He was waiting for that day to come. Just as Ling Xiao was about to reconstruct Ling Yan's physical body, a terrifying hostility came from outside. Ling Xiao opened his Taiji eye and saw that Bo Yechen was rushing over with a group of eagle troops. Chapter 2658. Don't be distracted. I'll help you deal with them. Yu Fenghua stood up and walked outside. Be careful. Okay. The conversation between the two was very simple, but it was filled with a deep warmth. After Yu Fenghua left, Ling Xiao began to reconstruct Ling Yan's body. With his avatar, the process would be very simple. The only thing Ling Xiao had to do was focus. About half an hour later, the golden egg had merged perfectly with Ling Xiao's avatar. As for his external incarnation, it had also undergone a transformation. It turned into a golden crow with golden feathers all over its body. In the dim underground palace, it was particularly eye-catching. Not only that, but Ling Yan's cultivation had reached the peak of the 10th level of the Yin-Yang realm. It was even higher than Ling Xiao's. What's going on? Did you fail somewhere? Why can't you turn back into a human? Ling Xiao was a little anxious. In the process of reconstructing the body, he did want Ling Yan to return to his original appearance. Who would have thought that he would turn into a golden crow? It's not your fault, boss. I cultivated that strange martial art. I'm afraid I can only return to my human form after this reincarnation. Ling Yan smiled bitterly. I'm already very satisfied to be alive, but... Ling Xiao could not help but shake his head and sigh. His good brother had actually turned into a golden crow. This was something that he had never expected. However, this golden crow had a body that was even more terrifying than a human's. It was at the peak of the 10th level of the Yin-Yang realm. Its combat strength was even comparable to the early stage of the 11th level of the Yin-Yang realm. It was too powerful. What surprised Ling Xiao the most was that Ling Yan had all the abilities that his avatar had. It could devour heat and increase its strength. It was much faster than pure cultivation. The terrifying light released by the 9 Serenities, Yellow Spring's golden crow, was still there. Forget it, that's fine too. This way, no one will know you're a descendant of the Thunder City's Ling clan. After this reincarnation cycle ends, the state of Chen will cease to exist. You don't have to worry about anyone knowing your identity. With no other choice, Ling Xiao could only accept Ling Yan's current appearance. But aren't you a little too big? When it spread out its wings, it was at least 7 to 8 meters long. When its huge body flew in the air, it would definitely cover the sky and cover the sun. That's not a problem, boss. Ling Yan smiled, and with a thought his body automatically shrank, turning into a palm-sized bird. Although it was still golden, it was no longer as eye-catching. This is good, this is good. Ling Xiao was afraid that Ling Yan was too eye-catching and would arouse suspicion. In that case, he could hide anywhere. Ling Yan, why don't I give you a nickname in the future? Let's call you Xiao Jin. Since you've decided to hide your identity, you don't have to use your original name for the time being. Ling Xiao thought about it and said, Boss, you're not really treating me as a pet, are you? Ling Yan smiled bitterly. No matter what you become, you'll still be my good brother. All right, let's not talk about it anymore. Your boss's woman is still fighting outside. I have to go out and check the situation. Ling Xiao smiled and took Xiao Jin out of the underground palace, heading straight for the city tower. Outside, the battle had already begun. Bo Yixin and Yu Fenghua were fighting in the sky. The Eagle Army continued to attack the city tower. Fortunately, the 8 Immortals County City had a very good defensive array formation. The secret spell cannons released blasted the Eagle Army until they could not get close. Otherwise, the city would not have been able to hold on. Looking at the battle in the sky, Ling Xiao could not help but sigh. If not for Yu Fenghua, he could only run for his life today. Bo Yixin was not Ji Hyun of Silla, Qin Kanglin. He was an expert of the Yinyang realm, level 11 of hell. He was not an existence that Ling Xiao could fight against. Even if he used the Sky Tyrant Martial Spirit, it would be useless. At most, he could only run for his life. But now, Bo Yixin should not be able to do anything to Yu Fanghua. From the situation of the battle between the two of them, Yu Fanghua still seemed to be handling a butcher's cleaver with ease. As for that Bo Yixin, he was clearly going all out and risking his life. Since that was the case, he did not need to worry about Bo Yixin. He only needed to focus on the Eagle Army. You want to attack my territory, right? Then I'll make sure you don't return. Ling Xiao, how dare you kill the 8th prince? Don't you know that this is a capital offense? Seeing Ling Xiao appear on the city tower, the centurion of the Eagle Army reprimanded loudly. 8th prince? Oh, you mean the trash that was crippled by Chun Kanglin? That's right, I killed him. Not only did I kill him, but I also killed Ji Hyun of Silla and Chun Kanglin. So what can you do to me? This kind of thing could not be hidden. He believed that there must be other spies in the 8 Immortal City. The news of him killing Chun Kanglin would soon spread to the Thunder City. Rather than letting others criticize him, it was better to admit it himself. Anyway, he was at odds with the royal family. The situation would not be too bad. Impossible. Hearing Ling Xiao's words, the Eagle Army did not believe it at all. Although they were competitors with Ji Hyun of Silla, they were well aware of Ji Hyun of Silla's strength. How could he be killed by Ling Xiao, who was as weak as an ant? Believe it or not, it's up to you. I'm too lazy to talk nonsense. Now that you've stepped into my territory, get out within 10 breaths. Otherwise, I'll kill you without mercy. Although he had saved Ling Yan, he was not in human form. Ling Xiao was actually a little unhappy in his heart. Since these people had come looking for trouble, he might as well vent his anger on them. All the land under the heavens belongs to the royal family. The entire Qin country belongs to the royal family. Who do you think you are? How dare you say that the 8 Immortal City is yours? The centurion of the Eagle Army rebuked angrily. This centurion was obviously much stronger than the one he had met in the valley. His cultivation should be at the late stage of the Yinyang realm's 10th level of hell. His cultivation was similar to the 8th prince's, second only to Ji Hyun of Silla and Chun Kanglin. Of course, he would be much older in terms of age. I only know that no one can touch the place that I, Ling Xiao, occupy. Ling Xiao chuckled. At this moment, Bo Yechin was getting more and more frightened. Others might not believe that Ling Xiao had killed Ji Hyun of Silla, but he believed it, because Ling Xiao had no reason to lie at this moment. At this moment, he was really shocked. Back when Ling Xiao went to the Arcana Academy, he did not even bother to look at this guy who was only at the 8th level of the Yinyang realm's 8th level of hell. Because of this, when he sent people to capture Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death, he did not expect that Ling Xiao would dare to take revenge. He did not expect that after coming out of the extreme royal secret realm, this kid had done several things that shocked the entire Qin country. Ling Xiao had done what the dragon cult had failed to do. The dragon cult had always wanted to deal a heavy blow to the Qin country. However, some people hid in the Thunder City and did not go out. They could not do anything. Chapter 2659. Ling Xiao did what the dragon cult wanted to do, but could not. First, he killed Bo Yiruri, then Gu Fang and Bo Yixin's younger brother. On the way back to the 8 Immortal City, he killed the 8th prince. After all, the 8th prince was not a very important prince. However, after arriving at the 8 Immortal City, Ling Xiao killed Ji Hyun of Silla and Chun Kanglin, which undoubtedly caused a sensation in the entire court. This was too shocking. Although this matter had not been confirmed yet, looking at the reaction of the people in the 8 Immortal City, it was unlikely to be fake. Soon, this news would spread to Thunder City. At that time, Thunder Emperor would probably force his way out of seclusion. Bo Yixin wanted to capture Ling Xiao now and ask Thunder Emperor for a reward. Their Bo Yi clan was now ranked last among the 8 great clans. In order to make the clan more prosperous, He really wanted to make more contributions so that he could receive more rewards from the royal family. The status of the Bo Yi clan would also be higher. However, the troublesome thing was that his opponent, the woman with a bamboo hat and a noble temperament, was terrifyingly strong. He did not dare to relax in the slightest, because once he did, he might be killed. No matter how great the contribution was, once he died, he would not be able to obtain anything. Bo Yi Xin was not stupid. Fortunately, the Eagle Army that came this time were all elites, and their cultivation was all at the 10th level of the Yinyang realm. The strongest one was at the late stage of the 10th level of the Hell. With these hundreds of people joining hands, he did not believe that Ling Xiao had the ability to escape. Old dog Bo Yi Xin, you must be thinking that I, Ling Xiao, will not be able to escape death under the encirclement of hundreds of Eagle Army elites, right? Ling Xiao said, "How can I not guess your little thoughts? But I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. Today, the Eagle Army is destined to be one step ahead of you." Fierce killing intent erupted from Ling Xiao's body. He had already decided that the 8 Immortal City was his heavenly empire's first battle in the Black Tortoise continent. He absolutely could not give it up. The army of the Celestial Empire had already begun to move towards the Black Tortoise continent. In any case, a small 8 Immortal City was already comparable to an empire on the White Tiger continent. It could definitely accommodate a large number of soldiers and civilians of the Celestial Empire. The cultivation resources and conditions of the Black Tortoise continent were better than the previous 3 continents. Migrating here was also a necessary condition for them to improve their strength. "Boss, let me fight with you." Ling Yan, who had turned into Xiao Jin, said, "Not for the time being. You've just reconstructed your body, and your strength isn't stable yet. Rest first. These bastards can't hurt me." Ling Xiao smiled and said, "I, your boss, won't do something that I'm not confident in." Previously, Ling Xiao had just broken through his cultivation. Now that his strength had skyrocketed, he was worried that there would be no one for him to use to hone his martial skills. Now that over 100 people had come, it was just right. In the blink of an eye, he had entered the Tyrannosaurus, blood, demonic, dragon, beast soul, transformation state. The tyrant blood demon dragon could fly, and it was one of the only 2 beast souls he had. The other one was the black-striped flying tiger. Unfortunately, its level was too low, and it was of no help to his battle prowess. Therefore, the Tyrannosaurus blood demon dragon was naturally the most suitable one. As he rose into the air, Ling Xiao immediately released the Tyrannosaurus blood demon dragon's special skill. Tyrannosaurus blood demon dragon blood curse. Buzz. At that moment, a strange red light enveloped all of the Eagle Army. At that moment, the soldiers of the Eagle Army were still thinking about how to capture Ling Xiao alive. They didn't realize how terrifying the demon dragon blood curse was at all. And this kind of horror would only be more obvious when they used their internal strength and started fighting. Capture Ling Xiao alive. Reward for meritorious service. Following the roar of the Eagle Army Centurion, over 100 elites of the Eagle Army madly pounced on Ling Xiao. However, just as Ling Xiao had expected, as long as they moved, the effect of the demon dragon blood curse would immediately appear. Whether it was the Eagle Army or the Eagle Army, all of them felt their chi and blood churning, and it was extremely uncomfortable. The blood in their bodies seemed to want to break through the restraints of their bodies and escape. Some of the weaker ones had already started bleeding from their 7 orifices. The most miserable ones were the Eagle Army. Their strength was not as strong as the soldiers, and they were only used as flying mounts. Affected by the demon dragon blood curse, they fell directly to the ground one by one. However, all of this wasn't over yet. Ling Xiao didn't think that he could defeat over 100 elites of the Eagle Army with this move alone. He still had another move, and it was a move that could perfectly complement the demon dragon blood curse. Sun God's remarkable ability, Bloodthirsty Plague. The bloodthirsty plague erupted and the entire sky was dyed red. Countless germs that were so small that they couldn't be seen with the naked eye landed on the bodies of the Eagle Army soldiers. Once they came into contact with blood, they quickly began to grow and spread. As Ling Xiao's cultivation broke through, the power of the bloodthirsty plague became even more terrifying. Warriors who were 3 or 4 small realms stronger than him were also affected. As for warriors who were weaker than him, they had no ability to resist at all. They could only let the bloodthirsty plague devour their internal strength and blood. Among this group of people, the warriors who were at the 10th hells of the Yin-Yang realm in the first transformation shriveled up the moment they came into contact with the bloodthirsty plague. Countless blood-red germs flew back into Ling Xiao's body, providing Ling Xiao with an endless supply of energy. However, Ling Xiao also knew that he couldn't rashly absorb this energy for the time being. Instead, he converted it into his body's potential and continued to store it in his cells. In this way, he could continue to stimulate his potential in future battles, and his cultivation speed would still be very fast. As for the Eagle Army soldiers who were weaker than these warriors, they were mostly dead under the effects of the demon-dragon blood curse. The stronger warriors who were at the middle stage of the 10th hells of the underworld were also clearly affected. The internal strength in their bodies could only be used to resist the terrifying germs. There was no possibility of organizing an attack. Devil, he's not human. He's a demon god from the demon realm. Retreat. Logically speaking, the Eagle Army soldiers who had been on the battlefield for a long time would definitely not be so cowardly. Normally, no matter how strong the enemy was, they would definitely not choose to flee in such a pathetic manner. Today, however, they were truly afraid. This was because their opponent was not human. He was a devil, a demon god, an existence that they could not understand. Unfortunately, they were within the dual range of the demon-dragon blood curse and the bloodthirsty plague. Could they escape? Kamikaze army, heed my orders. If you want to be protected by me, Ling Xiao, then from today onwards, you must swear loyalty to me, Ling Xiao. Kill these warriors of the Eagle Army. Ling Xiao's voice echoed in the air. The 900,000 Kamikaze army soldiers heard it loud and clear. They all understood that this was a pledge of allegiance. Ling Xiao would not give them protection for no reason unless they were willing to be Ling Xiao's subjects. If you're unwilling, I won't do anything to you. However, if you encounter any threats in the future, don't ask for the protection of the 8 Immortal City. Chapter 2660. The 900,000 Kamikaze soldiers understood what Ling Xiao meant. They gritted their teeth and decided to bet on it. After what happened today, they had no way out, because they watched Ji Hyun of Silla get killed and fight with the 8th Prince. No matter which one it was a capital offense. Kill. The 900,000 Kamikaze soldiers roared and rushed towards the Eagle Army that had all landed on the ground, beginning the battle to prove their allegiance. These people absolutely hated the Eagle Army to the core. The Eagle Killing God and the 14th Prince Chen Songxiong had always used violent methods to resolve disputes. This included the 8th Prince's trip to the 8 Immortals County this time, which caused the deaths of the family members of these Kamikaze soldiers. The death of a family member was an irreconcilable enmity. They did not need to show any mercy. Moreover, they did not have the leisure to be merciful. Their opponents were very strong, extremely strong. Although they were tortured by the demonic dragon blood curse and the bloodthirsty plague, they still had very strong combat strength. Especially the last fight before death, it was still very frightening. Therefore, they had to fight with 120% of their spirit. Once they got serious, the combat strength of the 900,000 Kamikaze soldiers was not ordinary. They seemed to have turned into giants, waving their huge arms and killing the Eagle Army warriors one by one. With the first, they would not care about the second. Seeing these Kamikaze soldiers move, Ling Xiao did not stay idle. After all, the centurion was still somewhat powerful and would cause a lot of casualties to the Kamikaze soldiers. Therefore, he had to do it himself. What he wanted was for the kamikaze soldiers to show their loyalty and prove their allegiance. That was enough. Ling Xiao, you will regret it. How dare you do this to our eagle army? There will be no light in your future. The centurion roared and rushed towards Ling Xiao. However, due to the two negative effects, his fist was as soft and powerless as a ball of cotton. Ling Xiao gently grabbed him by the neck and said coldly, I'm not afraid to tell you that this is not the first time I've killed the eagle army, and you won't be the last. As long as Chen Songxiong dares to continue to cause trouble for me, I will let him have the same ending as Chen Kenglin. Ah, you lunatic, demon. As the centurion screamed, he was swallowed by the terrifying lava and turned into a skeleton. Ling Xiao, stop. If you stop now, you can still leave an intact corpse. Otherwise, the 8 immortal city will be razed to the ground. At this time, Bo Yixin was absolutely furious. He had come to denounce Ling Xiao and seek revenge. However, the result was that the people he had brought with him were killed one by one, and he was also in trouble. Stupid words. After killing Ji Hyun of Silla and Qin Kanglin, I knew that it was impossible for me to live in peace with the Qin nation. From today onwards, the 8 Immortals County will be an independent country. Name the 8 Immortals Country, and I will be the king. The reason why Ling Xiao didn't mention the Celestial Empire was because he couldn't be so brazen for the time being. After all, the Celestial Empire's invasion of the Black Tortoise Continent was completely different from the rebellion of the Qin state's subordinate counties. The former was very likely to attract the intervention of stronger forces. He absolutely could not do that before he was fully developed. Lunatic. Bo Yixin was no longer in the mood to continue fighting. He just wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. This place that made him feel fear. Yes, I am a lunatic, but at least I am still alive, and you will no longer have the chance to see me killed. Ling Xiao killed the centurion and coldly watched the death squad exterminate the eagle army. Then he said, They are all dead, it's your turn. You should thank me for being merciful and keeping your life until the end. Ling Xiao's sarcastic voice sounded, making Bo Yixin want to slap him to death. However, as long as he was distracted, he would be flustered by Yu Fenghua's killing, and he would be unable to take care of himself. His heart is incomparably shocked and terrified. Yu Fenghua is really too strong. What is this woman's identity? How can she be so terrifying? Moreover, she is so young. Finally, the thought of saving his life defeated his face, and he planned to escape. Where there is life, there is hope. He suddenly turned to attack Ling Xiao, causing Yu Fenghua to come to his rescue. But she took the opportunity to turn back and escape into the distance. Ling Xiao, you will definitely die, and you will die a horrible death. Not only you, but the entire 8 immortal city will be destroyed. I, Bo Yixin, swear that I will smile as I see your doomsday. Our green mountains will remain, and the green water will flow forever. Goodbye. However, just as he finished speaking, he suddenly felt a chill on his back, and a terrifying chill instantly covered his whole body. His whole body was completely frozen. Naturally, it was Yu Fenghua who made a move. Her strength once again refreshed everyone's view. Can you escape? I let Tushanmin or go because that girl is too pitiful. But you, an old man who has done so many evil deeds, should die here. Ling Xiao said coldly, Fenghua, leave him to me. He didn't want Yu Fenghua to be stained with his dirty blood. Anyway, Bo Yixin was completely frozen at this time and had no strength to fight back. Just like the frozen hairtail, he could only be dealt with by Ling Xiao. While speaking, he had already arrived beside Bo Yixin. The 8 immortals, sword in his hands, began to stab crazily. In just a moment, hundreds of sword stabs were made. The terrifying sword lights interweaved into a grid in the void. Poor Bo Yixin, who was obviously much stronger than Ling Xiao, couldn't escape death in the end. His body was almost completely cut into pieces. This is your Bo Yi clan's favorite way to kill people. Today, I'll return it to you and let you have a taste of this terrible feeling that is worse than death." Ling Xiao's voice was incomparably cold and emotionless. Thinking of how Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death were cruelly treated in the past, his heart was like stone and no longer had any feelings. "Ling Xiao, you will regret it. You will regret it. Do you think that by killing us, you can have a good ending? Don't be stupid. The entire Qin state is the world of the royal family. Where can you escape to? You killed the 8th prince and Ji Hyun of Silla. Now, you even want to kill this old man. You will definitely become the most wanted criminal in the history of the Qin state. You are dead. No one can safely leave the country under the pursuit of the royal family. You can't, even that Yu Fenghua can't. She is very strong, but you seem to be underestimating the power of the royal family." Before dying, Bo Yixin let out the most hysterical roar in the world. However, Ling Xiao only smiled indifferently. "I know all of this. I have never underestimated the royal family. But if you think that they can do whatever they want because they are strong, then you are wrong. I, Ling Xiao, will not go anywhere. I will stay in the 8 immortal city. Let them come. I want to see what the strongest power of the royal family is like." Since Ling Xiao dared to say such words, his greatest reliance was naturally formations. Chapter 2661. Before the enemy arrived, Ling Xiao had enough time to set up new formations and arrays. As long as he stayed within the 8 immortal city, he could make the enemy unable to return. "That's right, Bo Yixin. Didn't you think that I would definitely die? Fine. I'll let you leave behind a strand of remnant soul to live in this world. Take a good look at how your family will be destroyed by me, how the royal family and their lackeys will be killed by me." Ling Xiao took out a talisman and stuck it on Bo Yichen's body. This way, Bo Yichen would not die, but as long as the talisman was torn, Bo Yichen would immediately die. He wanted Bo Yichen to die in despair. "Men, make a high-grade cage for this guy. Let him have a taste of what it's like to be imprisoned. Perhaps the souls of those who were tortured to death by him will come to find him at night." Ling Xiao coldly laughed, and someone immediately brought Bo Yichen away. "Lord, no, King, how should we deal with those traitors?" At this time, Lin Ruoxian walked over and asked respectfully, "Other than Ling Xiao, Xiao Jin, and Yu Fenghua, she was the strongest existence in the 8 immortal city. Although Haim Miankeo was at the rebirth realm, a first revolution yin-yang realm martial artist at the 11th level of hell could easily defeat an ordinary rebirth realm martial artist. Therefore, although Haim Miankeo was strong, her battle prowess was at most on par with Lin Ruoxian. In terms of experience and battle prowess, she could not catch up. After all, one was a first revolution martial artist, while the other was only an ordinary martial artist. Ling Xiao coldly looked at Qin Chongxing and the others. He had already given these people a chance, but they still betrayed him. Since the poison pill was no longer effective, there was no need to be polite. "Kill!" Ling Xiao coldly gave the order. Even if he really turned into a demon, he would not forgive those traitors. "Understood." Lin Ruoxian and Moon Death went to deal with the traitors. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, began to nervously set up the array formation. The 900,000 dare to die soldiers became 900,000 laborers. Following Ling Xiao's instructions, they began to set up the formations in an orderly and nervous manner. Of course, they didn't understand formations, but under Ling Xiao's guidance, they could naturally place the things that should be placed in the correct position. 900,000 people. Needless to say, the efficiency was absolutely astonishing. The reason why Ling Xiao was so nervous was that he had no choice. He believed that it wouldn't take long for the news to spread to Thunder City. There was no way the royal family would let him go. What would happen next would probably be a series of attacks. The only thing he could do was to use the formation to stop the army while increasing his cultivation. Currently, he still had enough martial skills and martial arts, so there was no need for him to leave this place for the time being. He could continue to increase his strength. Coupled with the fact that the enemy was constantly attacking him, he would definitely be able to continuously increase his cultivation. Perhaps this was another crazy method of cultivation. Half a day later, terrifying great arrays were set up one after another outside the 8 immortal city. The 900,000 dare-to-die soldiers were also arranged by Ling Xiao to live in the 8 immortal city. Anyway, the city was very big. In the past, because of the strict restrictions of the 8 Immortals Mountain, a large number of martial artists were not qualified to enter this place at all. Now, even if 900,000 people were thrown in, it wouldn't cause much of a stir. As for the outer towns, except for Yuhua Town, all of them had been abandoned by Ling Xiao. He didn't have that much energy to guard them. As long as he could guard the 8 Immortal City, it would be enough. This way, he could concentrate his strength on one point. But the Chun state couldn't. Their border was not peaceful. There was also the dragon cult in the country. The army that came to attack the 8 Immortal City would definitely not be too large. After all the arrangements were completed, Ling Xiao began to quietly wait for the arrival of the enemy. He wasn't afraid, just a little nervous. This kind of crazy idea had actually appeared in his mind a long time ago. It was just that Ling Xiao had never really realized it. However, this time he planned to play hard. Among all the large arrays he had set up, besides the Plague Bone Dissolving Array and the 10,000 Beast Blood Refining Array, there was also the 10 Terminal Array that he had recently researched with his Yuan Venerate Master. He had obtained the 10 Terminal Array from his memories from the other realm. However, he only knew the general outline of the array, but not the details. Thus, he had been researching it all this time. He had already known about it back in the Sky Dragon Continent. It was only now that he had finally researched it thoroughly. He had also set up the 10 Terminal Array. This was the first time he would use it in battle. He wanted to see how the royal army of the Qin state would break through his 10 Terminal Array. Ling Xiao hadn't expected that the first batch of test takers after the 10 Terminal Array was set up would actually be a group of bounty hunters. There were a few hundred of them. Their cultivation bases were all at the first revolution yin-yang stage, the 8th level of hell. The strongest few had even reached the first revolution yin-yang stage, the 10th level of hell. This kind of combat strength would be considered absolutely powerful anywhere. Thus, Ling Xiao planned to entertain them well. The first array was the Heavenly Terminal Array. It was set up in the east of the 8 Immortals County City, and this group of bounty hunters happened to be attacking from the east. The reason why Ling Xiao brought Lin Ruoxian and Yu Shang to break the formation was naturally because he wanted to impart the method to control the 10 Terminal Formation to them. This way, even if he left the 8 Immortals County City, the 10 Terminal Array would protect them. There wouldn't be any major problems. The two of you listen up. This Heavenly Terminal Array is profound and mysterious. Heaven and earth are inverted. It is profound and mysterious. Immortals step on the path of no return. Mortals turn into ashes after entering the array. This array was created by the experts of the other realm. They obtained the Khanate clear chi and hid the chaos chi inside. There is a 3-headed banner inside. It combines the 3 elements of heaven, earth, and man into one. If someone enters this array, they will turn into ashes where there is thunder. If the immortal Tao comes here, their limbs will be shattered. I have fused heavenly lightning into this array. Its power is definitely not weaker than the rumors. You will see later. Ling Xiao sat on the array platform, waiting for the bounty hunters to step into the Heavenly Terminal Array. Among the bounty hunters, there was a leader. When he saw the 3 of them sitting there without any soldiers around, he felt very strange. But looking at the notice, who else could it be but Ling Xiao? Ling Xiao, your head is so valuable. 100 million low-grade spirit stones, 1 million mid-grade spirit stones, and a set of immortal-grade first heaven martial skills, and a high position and generous salary. You have really offended the royal family. Otherwise, they wouldn't have put up such a big bounty for you. The leader of the bounty hunters held the bounty list and shouted at Ling Xiao. I didn't expect my head to be so valuable. I even want to give myself away." Ling Xiao revealed a mocking expression as he casually waved his hand and said, "All of you scram. Some money is not that easy to earn. The royal family has put up such a big bounty. You should know the danger."